The views of those who are on this show are not particularly the views of WWE or any other pro wrestling promotion. But if you disagree with us, you're wrong.
Remember when I said that episodes 3 and 4 were going to involve our biggest conversations? Well, I lied. Why? Because we didn't expect WWE to irritate us so badly over the last 2 weeks. So we're going to talk about what has happened over the last couple of weeks. Again, welcome to the Shoot Nation Wrestling Podcast. This, finally, is episode 4. I'm Charlie, here with Michael.
Yo.
And here with Jake. Yo. Let's kick it off with Hell in a Cell. Let's get our thoughts on the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. I enjoyed the pay-per-view. I thought, top to bottom, the card, every match was good to great. Even the Divas matches were good to great. Or I guess all right to great is how the matches were. So let's run down the card and tell you who won and our thoughts on each thing. First match was the 2 out of 3 falls match for the Intercontinental Championship. Dolph Ziggler versus Cesaro. Ziggler went over 2 falls to none. Got a clean sweep on Cesaro. Jake, what did you think about this match?
Surprisingly, I'm surprised that Ziggler got 2 falls and Cesaro got none. I figured that they would have split it 1-1 and then sudden death pretty much.
Yeah.
But like I said last week, either way, if Cesaro would have won or if Ziggler would have won, I would have been totally okay with it. So I thought the match was pretty good. Not really any complaints. Cesaro does pretty well in 2 out of 3 falls matches.
Yeah,
as we've seen in the past.
Yeah, he always has. Michael, what did you think about it?
I felt like the match was pretty well everything you would expect it to be when you see Cesaro and Dolph Ziggler in a match together. I mean, great moves, a lot of really cool spots. I was, as Jake said, very surprised that they didn't at least give Cesaro 1 fall.
Yeah.
I expected it to go into sudden death like most 2 out of 3 falls matches do. Especially with a superstar like Cesaro that you can tell they're kind of grooming for the future. At some point, they're going to do something with him, you know.
At least you hope so.
Or at least you hope so. But it did kind of put things into a light that makes you feel like, you know, maybe they're wanting to do some things with Dolph right now that they haven't wanted to do in the past. I mean, because if you look at what they're doing with Dolph, putting a belt on him, you know, giving him a lot of time on pay-per-view matches and giving them, you know, Survivor Series main event stuff on Team Cena. That's a lot of notoriety. That's a lot of spotlight. Mm-hmm. And so, while on one hand it was kind of weird that Dolph was so dominant in the match, it was also kind of like, okay, maybe they're wanting to let you know, hey, we hear you. We're going to do some stuff with Dolph. So, I mean, overall I thought it was a really, really good match, but it also kind of felt like a little bit of affirmation for the character of Dolph Ziggler.
Right. And you know, I haven't done the research on anybody else. It's just, I thought about doing it one day, so I did the research. Dolph Ziggler has wrestled, has had a match on every Raw for about the last 5 months. The last 5 months straight, Dolph Ziggler has had a wrestling match. Not just been on the show, but had a wrestling match on every Raw for about the last 6 months. And he's the Intercontinental Champion. You know, it's almost like it's a death wish when you get the Intercontinental, the U.S. titles, that you don't end up on Raw, you don't have a match every week. That hasn't been the case with Dolph Ziggler. I mean, could that mean something? Maybe I'm reading too much into it, but, you know, he hasn't.
I think that it means something because we don't have a World Heavyweight Champion.
True. Due
to contract and money and whatever else you hear on the interwebs. But I feel like it's kind of like a step in, like, here's our champion.
Yeah.
I mean, not everybody looks at it that way and they don't, like, build it up as he's, like, the big champion of the show or whatever.
But you should.
But, yeah, he's, like, consistently on the show as champion and still champion after all this time.
Yeah.
So, and he's my favorite wrestler at the moment. So, I'm looking at him as my champion.
Yeah.
He's said in interviews before, I mean, I've seen him say to interviewers or whatever that this whole Brock Lesnar being out thing kind of in his head does make him the champion in the locker room. And on a lot of the road shows, he's the title match. He gets to main event. He gets to do all this stuff. So he is kind of like a little fill-in champion. So, I mean, that is pretty cool. And then also you got to take into account they're probably starting to realize, WWE, that, like, I mean, I think Triple H even said it in a promo they had on Raw this past week. Dolph is the hardest working dude in that locker room. Why would you not put him on TV?
Yeah.
You know, why would you not? And it's becoming increasingly obvious that the fans want to see him. Oh, yeah. You look out in the crowd, there's so many Dolph Ziggler signs, Dolph Ziggler t-shirts. I mean, the man has a heck of a following.
Yeah.
So, like, it's almost to the point where if you don't put him on the show, your fans are going to be ticked.
Yeah.
And people are going to start being like, why isn't Dolph on the show? So, yeah, they're going to put him out there every week.
Definitely. My thoughts on the match is it could have went longer. Was that only 12 and a half minutes. It could have went longer, and it probably would have been longer had Cesaro gotten a fall in.
It could have went longer without the Bella match.
Yeah.
Let's just be real.
I mean, I enjoyed it for what it was. 12 and a half minutes. Really great wrestling from these really two great wrestlers. And I've heard that the reason why Cesaro didn't get a fall is that he may be in the doghouse. He may be under some hot water for what he said. It might have been with an interview with Sam Roberts. It was an interview with somebody where he said that nobody wants to see John Cena versus Randy Orton for the 500th time, and that might have ticked someone off in the wrong way, and this is like punishment, and everything that we've been seeing happen to Cesaro might be a punishment. I don't understand why someone would be so fickle like that to do that when they're just speaking what everyone else is already saying.
Have you met Vince McMahon?
Well, I mean, I'm not surprised, but like still, why? But yeah, I wish the match could have been a little bit longer, but I still enjoyed it for the 12 and a half minutes that we had. Next up, the match I jokingly said 2 weeks ago on episode 3 is the match that everybody was looking forward to, the Battle of the Bellas, Brie versus Nikki, where the winner became the loser became the winner's personal assistant for 30 days, and if the loser did not comply, their contract would be terminated. Of course, the heel goes over, so Nikki wins. Brie is her personal assistant for 30 days. Which means this Bella angle will be drawn out for the next month. Do you have anything to say about the match?
I skipped it.
You did?
Yeah. I came home from work and started watching the pay-per-view, and I skipped it.
Okay. Michael, did you watch the match?
Don't lie.
I mean, I was about to, but it was late. And there was other matches on the card, and, so I thought to myself, I'll go back and watch it.
Did you go back?
I didn't go back because it's the Bellas. So...
Well, okay, because I'm a good WWE fan. I did watch the entire pay-per-view.
Well, let us just
props
leave.
To you. Props to you.
I guess you can do the podcast on your own.
It was... it was hard. It was hard.
I'm sure.
To go through the entire show.
Gaby.
But but it was all right. Like I was saying, it was every show or every match was all right to good or to great. Excuse me. This match was all right. Brie did do a suicide dive.
Really?
Yeah. Brie. I'm telling you, she's the American Dragoness, and she's learning something from her husband. She did do a suicide dive, and she pretty much connected with her sister. They did this thing where like Nikki was holding on to her shin. Apparently she had like a shin injury a year ago that could have put her out of action. I don't remember because I don't.
We wouldn't have noticed.
Yeah. So I mean, it wasn't too bad of a match. It's what you would have expected from Brie and Nikki. Next match was the tag team title match: Gold and Stardust against the Usos, the Battle of the Brothers. Did you watch this match?
I did watch this match.
Okay.
I did.
All right. What'd you think about this match?
No complaints. I like the rivalry between these brothers.
Mm.
It might be going on a little bit too long as I would like it to, but there's really not many other tag teams that they can feud with at the moment.
Yeah, I agree with that.
With Ryback breaking up right after they came back, and this like heartfelt breakup backstage, but I don't know. I thought it was a pretty good match, but I would like to see WWE either create a new tag team or bring another one up from NXT so we can have some different flavors within the tag team division.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, the match was awesome. I knew what the match was going to be, and that is either good or bad depending on your perspective, because we have seen this match so many times. And I mean, it's not the Dust Brothers and the Usos' faults. They're just spokes on the wheel. Look how much a year has changed. It's like what me and Michael were talking about a couple of days ago. Look how much a year has made. Last year, the tag team division in WWE wasn't so bad.
No.
There were a lot of good tag teams. You had the Real Americans with Swagger and Cesaro. You had Ryback with Ryback and Curtis Axel. You had 3MB. You had the Shield. You had the Wyatt family.
Yeah.
You had the Primetime Players, along with Cody Rhodes and Goldust and the Usos. You had a pretty good tag team division. And look how all of it's changed in a year.
We have
none of those teams are left.
2 tag teams.
Yeah. And then there's Los Matadors.
Yeah, but that doesn't matter.
Yeah, because they're not even on TV.
Man, if the WWE doesn't figure out something with these tag team divisions, get some more bodies in here, we're going to run the risk of the Dust Brothers and the Usos becoming the Cena and Orton of the tag team division. Just the go-to fail-proof match that you've seen 1,000 times. Because that's I really don't have a reaction to this match because it's the exact same match we've seen at every pay-per-view for the last 6 months. The Usos gave up the belts to the Dust Brothers. Who did the Usos win the tag team titles from?
The Outlaws.
Before that, though, the champions were the Dust Brothers.
Yeah, it was the Dust Brothers. Yeah.
So, in the last, year and a half, 2 years, there's been, 3 tag teams or so that have held the tag team championships, and most of that has been the Usos and the Dust Brothers.
Yeah.
So, they've gone back and forth with each other for so long, and it's because we don't have anybody else. And in between that, the fact that the Outlaws were the tag team champions should alarm you. You have no one else to give the belts to, and you bring back these 50-year-old guys to hold the belts for 2 months. That's ridiculous.
Over the last year and a half, ever since Extreme Rules 2013, tag team champions, first off, were Team Hell No, were Daniel Bryan and Kane. And then at Extreme Rules, they lost it to the Shield. The Shield held it for the majority of 2013 before losing to Cody Rhodes and Goldust. And then, for whatever reason, they lost to the Outlaws. I think it was on the pre-show of the Royal Rumble. Is that when it was?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, exactly. And then randomly on Raw, the Usos finally won the tag team titles. And then, then that's what it was. And then they lost it to Golden Stardust.
I wish that they would... Because, back in, the early 2000s, we saw the Hardys versus the Dudleys and Edge and Christian all in different patterns and stuff. We saw it all the time. But WWE still found a way to make it interesting.
Because there were other tag teams.
Yeah, and,
there were other tag teams, and there were different matches.
Yeah.
We've seen these 2 teams go back and forth with each other in just regular old run-of-the-mill tag team matches.
Yeah, and at least they changed it up on last night's SmackDown, where it was a steel cage. Yeah. I still.
If you give me a few more of those, that would be cool. Give me a ladder match.
Right.
A TLC match.
It's been a long time since we've had a straight-up ladder match in WWE. Think about that.
Yeah.
Not a Money in the Bank ladder match. Just a ladder match.
Yeah, just a straight-up ladder match. Because we didn't get it last year at TLC.
I would have been...
Because the entire show was based around Cena versus Orton and who becomes the first WWE
I would have been...
champion.
The Cena Ambrose contract on a pole match that happened a few weeks ago. That could have been a ladder match, and that would have been that much better.
Yeah. It would have been a whole lot better than contract on a pole, please.
Because we know how you feel about that.
Yeah. 4th match on the card. Thank goodness they did this. John Cena versus Randy Orton. And
For the first time.
The first
Ever.
Yeah, this match has never happened before. Hell in a Cell match, the first Hell in a Cell match.
They don't even know each other.
Right. The winner gets a future shot at the WWE World Heavyweight Championship.
Keep in mind, future.
A future shot. It's not going to happen at Survivor Series. It may not even happen at TLC.
It'll probably be the Rumble.
It probably will.
That's
and
what I'm thinking.
It's gonna. That's not what the Rumble.
So
Cena
that's
will
probably the
probably
next
win.
time Brock Lesnar will surface.
Cena
Right.
will probably win it at the Rumble and then go to WrestleMania and get beat by the Rumble winner.
Probably.
I'm Demon Roman Reigns.
Well,
Shots fired.
hopefully. John Cena wins. What'd you think about the match? Michael, what'd you think about the match? I started with Jake last time.
Well,
Did you... hold on. Because now I got to ask this question. Did you watch the match?
Yes.
I did. I
Okay.
watched every other match except the Divas match. That may sound sexist. If by chance there's any girls listening to
Hold on.
this.
So you didn't watch Brie versus Nikki, and you didn't watch AJ versus...
Disclaimer,
Correct.
we're not sexist here. It's just... Never mind.
But both matches got 6.5 minutes. That's like the most a Divas match has had in the last 2 months.
Yeah, but their match combined was still like almost less than the 2 out of 3 falls match. Which
Now,
Fair enough.
my point.
I felt like this was one of the better Cena Orton
Yeah.
matches.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I mean, after a while, you know, it gets stale when you see it all the time. But
21 times on TV.
they've gone against each other more times than Tom Brady and Peyton Manning, and that's terrible.
121 times overall, including 100 house show matches.
Yeah, that's not normal.
100 house show matches.
That's not
These
normal.
two men have had one-on-one.
Now, I thought it was a pretty good match. I thought it was one of the better matches. I thought it was a lot of the spots that happened I thought were really cool, like the reversal of the AA into the RKO through I thought that was pretty tight. But overall, it was just another chapter in the Cena Orton, and you kind of knew that that Cena was going to come out on top, especially with them hinting at the Rollins and Orton feud, which is now escalating. I'm sure we'll get to that eventually.
Yeah.
But, especially when they started hinting at that feud, you kind of got the feeling that Cena was going to go ahead and win that match so they could let Orton focus on dealing with stuff with the Authority.
Personally, I think you still could have done both. If Orton were to win, because Brock's not on TV.
Yeah,
and we'll get to that later and how we feel about that. But Brock's not on TV.
Right.
Brock's not even involved. They're not even doing anything with Brock Lesnar.
Mm-hmm.
So to build up eventually to Orton versus Lesnar, you put him in a feud with Rollins. You put it to Survivor Series. You put it to TLC.
Yeah.
And if that's when you want to do the Brock's title match finally, if you want to do it at the Rumble, well then dedicate Survivor Series and TLC to something else.
Yeah.
Like Orton versus Rollins.
Absolutely. And I thought that too, Charlie.
Yeah.
I did feel like they could do it both ways.
Yeah.
But I tried to think like a WWE executive.
Right.
And their philosophy has always seemed to be, when in doubt, give it to Cena.
Right.
When we don't know what else to do.
Even when Cena loses, Cena wins.
Like, when we don't know what else to do or where else to go, put Cena in there.
It's like TNA and Sting.
Yeah.
Whenever Sting was in TNA, like their go-to thing was just have Sting win.
Yeah. That's pretty much what it was.
Dixie, I don't know what to do. I don't know how we're supposed to end this rivalry. Let Sting win.
There you go.
All right. There
And
it
that's
is.
how it is with WWE.
So-
We don't know what to do. Paul, help us out. Vince, what do we need to do? Let Cena win. All right.
All right.
Okay.
There it is. So, I thought the match itself was good, just predictable.
Yeah.
The same old Cena Orton stuff.
Yeah.
Like, it's what it is.
Yeah.
I completely agree with everything you said, and I feel like if there wasn't another Hell in a Cell match, we would have had like more spots and kind of OMG moments,
Yeah.
But since we had to conserve the cage for the later match,
For what was going to happen,
yeah.
thankfully
But-
it was the main event.
Overall, I thought it was one of the better matches between Randy Orton and John Cena out of the 120 some odd times.
Right. And I am so glad, honestly, I'm so glad I get to say that this match was one of the better matches that they've had. Not the best match that they've had.
We know,
As-
Backlash.
As I've said, yeah, well, I mean, you go back and you watch that match, SummerSlam 2007, like, really the first time they ever had a match. It was the first match they had on pay-per-view. It was a good match. It was it's their best match, I say. And if it's not on Cena's Rivalries DVD, WWE's messing with themselves, because that's the best match Cena and Orton ever had. But definitely, you know, I would put this match maybe, you know, in front of their series of matches that they had in 2009, where they were on like 4 pay-per-views straight.
Mm-hmm.
I'd probably put that match up there, like up that far, because it was a good match. Thankfully, Cena and Orton pulled out a good match that they had on this. It was a great way to be like the mid-show main event.
Right.
That's what it was. It was the mid-show main event. After the Hell in a Cell, we had Sheamus versus The Miz for the United States Championship. Sheamus wins and continues. Sheamus is like the only mid-card champion that doesn't really lose.
Yeah.
You know, like, in some way he's still protected, but he's not a main eventer.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's buddy with Triple H.
Well, if he was so buddy with Triple H, I feel like he'd still be in the main event picture. So I don't know what he did. What do you think about the match?
Good match. Good, and I feel like this is almost weird to say, but one of my favorite things about it, and one of my favorite things is becoming, is this whole Mizdow thing.
Yeah,
it's just funny to me.
I will say
I felt like the ending little bit that they did with Sheamus like beating up on Miz and Mizdow like pretending to feel it, like it was funny, but I felt like it went on too long.
Yeah,
like
just, after the match,
it just
were doing the thing.
Yeah, and it just kept going and kept going. I was like, it's funny, let him go. But
I could have done without that with the thing at the end.
But I feel like it was pretty good. I really enjoy a lot of Sheamus's matches. I feel like he's kind of underrated in the ring.
Sheamus is a good wrestler.
Especially to be such a bigger guy. You expect him to just be a powerhouse and that's all there is to him. But he's got a lot of really agile, quick moves that you wouldn't expect him to be able to do.
He flies over the rope with that battering ram. He gets up to the top rope to do the battering ram.
And I think, I honestly think that, not saying that he's like some great wrestler, but I really think The Miz is a little bit underrated too. I think some of his in-ring work is really good. I mean, and so I think those two together were a really good feud. I enjoyed it.
It wasn't too bad of a match. That's what I was saying at the beginning.
Yeah, I'm not saying it was like the match of the night or if it's something that you're gonna be talking to your buddies about tomorrow. Did you see that Miz and Sheamus?
Right. Did you see the Miz and Sheamus tear down the
house? It's not the match you turned the show on for, but it's a match that while you're watching the show, you're gonna be like, this is entertaining.
And that's what it needs to be. Like, not every match needs to be unbelievable, just one after. I mean, that's nice that you want to do that, but not every match has to do that.
Monumental and
some of them just have to keep you interested enough to get to the next match.
And that's what this match did. It wasn't filler, but it served a purpose because these two actually had a pretty good match. Sheamus is a pretty good wrestler. He's not too bad. He's pretty good.
Right.
And the Miz, we're not the 3 biggest Miz fans, but he's not too bad either.
Yeah.
I mean,
he's no scrub in the ring, man.
No, I mean he's earned his stripes. Now, whether people want to appreciate that or not, that's not.
He went from reality TV to making the sequel of The Marine
and doing straight to DVD movies.
And that's where you want to be in life.
Exactly.
He's also married to one of the hottest chicks I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
So
I want to know why she's still not in WWE.
Hey. I don't care.
Give it time.
I'm waiting.
All I'm saying is Miz is winning right now.
Yeah. He's not doing too bad.
Hashtag winning.
I've said before and I'll say it again. I think this Mizdow and Miz team is helping both their careers.
Strangely enough,
Honestly, I was done with Sandow and I was done with Miz. But then whenever Miz comes back with this whole movie star character and then he brings in Sandow to be his bodyguard into Mizdow, the way that the crowd is reacting and how they...
I don't think anybody saw this coming.
No.
I don't think anybody saw this working the way it works.
Yeah,
and on paper, it sounds stupid. But whenever you actually watch it and see it, it actually kind of works.
It was just, it was supposed to be annoying. It was supposed to be like, because Miz's character is annoying. And everything he does is supposed to be annoying. And oh my gosh, this D-bag went out and got his own stunt double, got in my face.
The Miz is this quote unquote movie star. He hasn't done any big motion picture projects, and that's supposed to be part of the thing, the gimmick too. But as you said, it works. Somehow it's working.
Somehow it works.
Whether it's like a sarcastic pop from the universe or if it's a legit pop, it's still working.
Somehow it's
working.
It's working.
Next match on the card was Rusev versus The Big Show. Rusev Buteye. Rusev Machka. Or whatever it is.
I speak English.
Rusev goes over. First question, did you watch the match?
Yes.
Okay. If you asked me if I watched one more match, I will turn Hell in a Cell on this TV right now and we will watch this whole show together.
All right.
There's only one match on this entire card that's left that we haven't watched.
Okay.
We'll get there.
Well, just making sure.
And when we get there, he's going to ask us if we watched it.
What'd you think about the match? Rusev versus Big Show.
I feel like... I don't know. I feel like we say this every week. I feel like I say this every week.
I'm behind you.
But I'm so ready for Rusev to lose.
It's like...
And we'll keep it at that.
This was the chance. Like, this was the perfect build-up. This is exactly what you needed. And, like, I get that they wanted to put the U.S. title on him, and that's cool. And that might have been a little bit of spoiler alert for later, but hey, we're going to get there eventually anyway. Get there eventually. But, like...
We got 2 matches left for Hell in a Cell.
I get they wanted to do that, and that's fine. But now, like, they have the U.S. title on him. Now it's like, when is he going to lose? Because now, in order to be defeated for the first time, he's going to have to lose that U.S. title.
Yeah.
More than likely, unless he loses a non-title match. But then it's like, well, what was the point in that?
Right.
Like, so now it's...
When he loses the U.S. title, he loses his first match.
I would have been okay with him losing to the Big Show and then winning the U.S. title later on. Because at least now I know, like, he's not going to be undefeated. Or he can be beaten, you know? Because now it feels like, you almost feel like there's never going to be another U.S. champion again.
Right.
Like, this man is going to be...
And when it was on Sheamus, we didn't think there was ever going to be another
He's going to be the Hulk Hogan of the U.S. title. Just hold it forever.
How long was Sheamus the U.S. champion?
181 days?
Because he was champion for a while this year. And that's what I was saying. Like, Sheamus is the only mid-card champion that was actually protected.
Hey, he wasn't U.S. champion as long as Dean Ambrose.
Yeah. 5th longest reign overall in the entire history of the title.
Dean Ambrose was the U.S. champion for 47 years.
But back to the whole...
How long? Hold on. How long you
Dean Ambrose had grandchildren.
182 days.
He held it for exactly 6 months. Yeah, it would have been the night after Extreme Rules. That's when it was. May 5th. 2014 is when Sheamus won the title, and he lost it November 3rd.
And Dean Ambrose went almost an entire year, 351 days.
The longest reign under the WWE banner did Dean Ambrose hold that championship. 5th longest overall.
And defended it 4 times.
Yeah. There we go. Yeah, Lex Luger, 3rd longest overall.
MVP is number 4 on this list.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Ambrose beat MVP's record, and Ambrose is the longest reigning under the WWE banner, 3rd longest reigning overall. Behind only Rick Rude and Lex Luger, who are 2 and 1 respectively. I didn't realize that. So, yeah, there's that.
But for the whole Rusev Big Show match, I don't want to say the cliche, all good things must come to the end, because this is not a good thing. This just needs to end. That's the way I'm going to leave it at.
And, alright, we'll take it there. It was a good match.
It was.
It was a good match, especially for 2 big dudes like Big Show and Rusev. I think their match a couple of weeks ago on Raw, or a couple of weeks before this, before Hell in a Cell on Raw, was a little bit better. They probably should have saved a lot of stuff they did on that Raw match at Hell in a Cell, like Rusev doing the dropkick. Mm-hmm. It's like Big E and Rusev when they did the spear through the ropes. That's how you remember that match.
Yeah.
Even though I can't remember what pay-per-view it was on.
Money in the Bank?
Somewhere around there.
I want to say it was Payback.
They had 2.
Yeah,
I know one was at Money in the Bank. I'm pretty sure one was.
Yeah, I think the other one was at Payback. So yeah, we'll just end it there.
I wish it would have ended differently, but it kind of adds to the story of Big Show and Mark Henry.
Yeah,
and we'll get there.
Which it should have happened at this pay-per-view. It shouldn't have happened on Raw. But we'll get to that later. Co-main event of the night was AJ versus Paige for the Divas Championship, and I know you two didn't watch it. Like I said, I went through the entire show.
Charlie's better than us.
You get a gold star for this week.
Yay! I
I
used to steal other kids' gold stars and put it on my chart when I was in kindergarten when my teacher wasn't looking. Anyway, AJ Lee.
AJ and Paige is, I mean, it's starting to be like the Dust Brothers and the Usos. It's the only thing that the Divas division is doing.
Orton.
Yeah. There are 3 mainstay matches in WWE right now. Cena versus Orton, the Rhodes and the Usos, and AJ and Paige. These two have been going at it all summer, including 2 matches. It involved a debut and a return in Paige and in AJ, respectively. AJ goes over, which is stopping the trend that was between the title run, the title changes, because first it was AJ, and then Paige won it. And then AJ won it back. And then Paige won it back. And then AJ won it back. So that stopped that little nuisance. AJ beats Paige and keeps the title. It was typical of what you would see between AJ Lee and Paige. Now finally, the main event. The true main event. The only match that should have been the main event. And thank goodness they did. Seth Rollins, Dean Ambrose, inside Hell in a Cell. The only true rivalry that is needed to be in Hell in a Cell in the last 5 years. And they did it, and it delivered. Jake, I'll start with you. What do you think about this match?
The way it started out, I loved it. Because it didn't start out your traditional Hell in a Cell match.
It was very reminiscent of a particular moment that we will never be able to forget because they'll continue to talk about it.
Yep. But he walks out with a kendo stick that looks like a pool cue holder around his back.
And for some reason, I was trying to figure out what is in the pool. For some reason, I couldn't realize that it was a kendo stick.
But, I love how Ambrose goes out to the ring, goes into the ring, gets like 47 chairs, and throws them in the ring, and screams at the top of his lungs, "We're all gonna die tonight." Like, that just proves this man's insanity.
That probably didn't, that probably rubbed some people the wrong way in the back.
I loved it.
I loved it too.
Classic Ambrose.
Yeah, it was awesome.
But I love the way that started. It kind of had some shades of Mankind versus Undertaker, but with another element of sending the goons up there with him. And
we're so close to getting Ambrose versus Noble.
We're so close.
Jamie Noble! Jamie Noble! We're so close.
But
Anyway.
I feel like that with Mick Foley coming out a couple weeks ago on Raw before Hell in a Cell, I feel like they kind of threw some shades of his monumental Hell in a Cell match into that match, with the spot of starting it up on the cage and then not falling off the cage but off the side of the cage,
Which was amazing.
and incapacitating him.
That was so great.
I even though Rollins won, I was completely happy with it. I'm pretty sure everybody in the WWE universe wanted Dean Ambrose to win.
Yeah.
Seth Rollins wins, but Ambrose still got what he wanted out of that match.
Yeah.
And we got what we wanted. So Dean Ambrose technically won, and we won too.
Yeah.
And Vince McMahon won.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Vince McMahon. Always wins.
Vince McMahon always wins.
Vince McMahon is the undisputed champion.
Vince McMahon is the real WWE World Heavyweight Champion.
Vince McMahon is the real MVP.
Yeah.
The real MVP.
I loved this match. There were so many things that happened in this Hell in a Cell match that we haven't seen in Hell in a Cell matches in years. Years. Look back at especially every Hell in a Cell pay-per-view, and we'll get to that particular thing in a little bit as well. Every Hell in a Cell pay-per-view we've had, you don't even realize what matches were inside Hell in a Cell because they didn't serve a purpose to be inside Hell in a Cell. this was the first rivalry, the first really blood feud that needed to be inside Hell in a Cell, that needed to end it. That needed to end inside Hell in a Cell. And unfortunately it did, but thankfully it did because this match was amazing.
Well, listen, I agree with everything both of you guys have said. You
Well,
know,
thank
you're welcome.
Thank you.
Oh, guys. The homages to the Mick Foley match were very apropos. I really enjoyed it. One, because, you know, Mick Foley had resurfaced a few weeks ago and talked to them both in the ring, and it was cool having that moment. And the fact that we've all kind of said in the past that we see a little bit of, like, Cactus Jack Mick Foley in Dean Ambrose, maybe mixed with a little bit of, like, Stone Cold and some Psycho Sid. Like, so he's got that quality to him, so it was just real appropriate for them to do that.
Any crazy, whacked out character that WWE's ever come up with, if you put them all together, you get Dean Ambrose.
Basically.
It's weird how that worked out.
And it was great that the rivalry did end in the Hell in a Cell, because like you said, Charlie, that's where it needed to end, because Rollins was always ducking and dodging and finding ways to get away from Ambrose, and in the Hell in a Cell, you can't. So that was the perfect way to end that. But I'm going to say something that really hasn't been talked about yet. That match and the way that everything happened was one of the most creative ways to bring back Bray Wyatt that I think the WWE could have thought of.
I was not expecting
I wasn't expecting it. I think they need a round of applause for that, because I did not see that coming.
Let's just take a moment.
Right, yeah.
Good job, WWE, for coming up with something original that no one thought of. Because the last thing you were thinking.
That wasn't even on my mind. Oh,
Like,
Bray Wyatt. This is when Bray Wyatt's going to come. No, because it didn't.
You had no idea.
Fit in. It
didn't fit. It didn't make sense. No one was thinking that. And then it goes dark.
I was expecting an authority run-in.
Exactly. Like it
That's
goes.
what I was expecting.
It goes dark, and you're thinking like something's about to happen.
It's Kane.
You know, like
Demon Kane.
Yeah.
The Demon Kane.
It's gonna come up through the ring or something.
Because they'll refer to him as the Demon Kane. Stop.
You're thinking that, but then you see that lantern, and then they had like the hologram in the smoke,
weird.
and you're like, "What the crap is going on?"
I got a question. How the hell did they do that?
I don't know.
Did a beam of light come from the ceiling? Did they?
I have no
I don't
idea
even know.
what they did, but it was one of the coolest reveals I've ever seen.
Say, a ghostly specter is what it says on the Wikipedia page, because that's where we get all of our information, is from Wikipedia.
Here comes Bray Wyatt out of nowhere and just takes out Dean Ambrose.
He just runs through the smoke and just rams Ambrose.
Even Seth Rollins is laying there looking like he's like, I don't know what he's probably gonna hit me next. I've had my run-ins with the Wyatt family. He was probably scared too. Like he kind of gingerly crawled towards Ambrose to make the cover. The whole time he's staring at Bray Wyatt like, please don't destroy me.
And Bray's just standing there and he's just looking down at what he did to Dean Ambrose, and it's like,
and this is going to give birth.
Going on?
This is going to give birth to one of the most interesting feuds the WWE has ever seen. These are the most mentally unstable characters they've had in years, and they're about to go one-on-one with each other. These promos are going to be incredible.
It's going to be.
These promos are going to be nuts.
It's going to be insane.
So
and it's already started off that way.
That's my favorite part of this Hell in a Cell
I'll
match.
get to that later.
That's my favorite part of this Hell in a Cell match, was just the fact that at the end, WWE completely throws us this curveball and brings this crazy guy back to feud with this other crazy guy, and this is going to be nuts. This is going to be a great feud.
And one of the few curveballs they've thrown in a long time.
That you really just, like, they've had attempts at curveballs where you were like,
that
okay,
actually got you.
You were like, everybody saw this happening.
Exactly.
The only other thing that has surprised me as much in recent WWE is when The Rock randomly showed up on Raw in Brooklyn.
Like, and then before that,
Cody Rhodes having a mustache.
and
that wasn't a curveball. That was a disgrace.
and then before that, probably Brock's decimation of Cena.
Yeah.
The first straight up squash main event match. But,
involving Cena.
Like
nobody Cena on the receiving end.
And nobody else would have done that. I wouldn't see any other main event guy doing something like that other than Cena. But how would you grade Hell in a Cell out of 10?
Out of 10,
because I don't use 5 stars. That's Dave Meltzer's thing. So I do 10.
I'm gonna go
like a 7.5 to 7.75.
I was actually about to. Ooh, you went 2 decimal spaces. I was gonna say
He went 7 3/4 points.
I was gonna go with probably a 7.5 to an 8.
Yeah.
I feel like it was a pretty solid show.
Yeah.
There wasn't a lot of like, what's going on here? Why is this here? There wasn't really any pointless segments.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the matches were really good. The main event was perfect.
Amazing.
I mean, like, that's how you want to end a show, you know, and that's really the lasting memory you have from any show. How was the main event? Like, that's where your show really gets graded. And with a main event like that, I have to say it was a pretty good show.
Yeah, I'll go with an 8, 8 out of 10.
Ooh.
Yeah. I'll probably knock down the 2 points because of the Divas matches, or at least because of Brie and Nikki. But probably the 3 best matches on the show were definitely Ambrose Rollins. That's number 1. Ziggler Cesaro being number 2, and I gotta say Cena and Orton.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
The at least the 3rd best match on the night.
Yeah.
Of the night. They did good. They did great. Cena and Orton did awesome. The whole show was amazing. Let's go to Raw the next night. We started. Did we start off with the Authority promo? I can't remember Raw from 2 weeks ago. I'm pretty sure we did because they were talking
Was
about.
that the one where Orton RKO
Rollins?
Seth?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Or was that last week?
No, McMahon came out.
That's
last
right,
week.
McMahon. Yeah, because
Right.
Vince started off Raw last week.
Right.
It's been a while, sorry, and all these Raws just start to run together. The night after Hell in a Cell, Raw starts off with, guess what, an Authority promo, because you didn't see that coming. It was the Authority minus Randy Orton, so it was Triple H, Stephanie, Kane, Rollins, Jamie Noble, and Joe Mercury, and they were talking about how, yes, Orton lost to Cena, but Rollins beat Ambrose, and which then had Orton come out and just whacked out of his mind. I actually enjoyed. I'm glad Randy Orton found his charisma that he lost whenever he decided to get those sleeves tattooed on him. And then just out of nowhere, Triple H trying to calm him down, and out of nowhere,
RKO out of nowhere.
RKO's Seth Rollins, and then he just leaves.
Well, he didn't really leave. He
Slithered out of the ring and walked up the ramp.
raised hell.
Yeah, and weirdly enough, that was the last time we saw him on the entire show, wasn't it?
Like you said, all these Raws are starting to run together.
Yeah, I think
Yeah, last week was their squash the beef match between Rollins and Orton, right?
correct. Yeah, this is the Raw after Hell in a Cell.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, this is the
I
last
believe
time we saw Orton. We're trying to make up for lost time here.
Correct us if we're wrong, Internet.
Right, all 38 people who are,
Something like that.
Uh,
Anyways.
Again, we're not going to run through every match that happened on Raw. We're just going to talk about certain things. The random promo that happened between Cena and Stephanie that set up the even more random Survivor Series match. Team Authority versus Team Cena. Michael raises his hand, so we're going to start with Michael. What do you have to say?
When in doubt, give it to Cena. They had no other way to go for a Survivor. Someone sit here and think of another Survivor Series main event they could have done that would have made any lick of sense. You got nothing. So
I would have said Team Orton versus Team Rollins.
Maybe,
but
maybe
we'll get to that later.
But I mean, it still probably wouldn't have.
Yeah.
I mean, not a lot.
Cena still would have had to.
Not enough people like Randy Orton to join his team. He's been a jerk for the last 12 years. Right.
even when he's been liked, he's still been a jerk.
It's more believable for Orton
if it's the
to eventually.
John
Of course, my theory, which is probably going to happen because I'm usually right, is that Orton.
Michael is also very modest.
Yes.
Not to be confused with the wrestler who had the same name of Michael Modest. That's a real thing.
That's a real thing?
You didn't know that?
He's a real guy.
He's probably awesome, though. No, dude, he was awesome.
I mean, there's Mike Awesome.
Well, Mike Awesome is also Bill Alfonso's kid.
Really?
Remember Bill Alfonso,
Yeah.
the guy who had the jacked up teeth?
Rabbit Trail!
Who was
Sorry.
who was RVD's manager?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's his son. That was his son. Rest in peace, Mike Awesome.
Mike Awesome.
Anyway,
But
what'd you think? Yeah, what do you have to say about this? When in doubt, give it to Cena.
When in doubt, give it to Cena.
Someone make that a T-shirt. Hey, Hillbook. They probably don't watch this, but I have no idea we exist. Hillbook, you're good at making T-shirts. Make a T-shirt that says "When in doubt, give it to Cena."
Now,
I'll put that on the Facebook page.
like I was saying, not enough people like Orton to join his team because he's been a jerk. But it would be more believable, and this is my theory here, that Orton would go and join Team Cena just to get a piece of Rollins, just to get at him, just to get back at the Authority, especially with what happened at the end of last week's Raw, which, I mean, we'll get there in a second.
We'll get there.
But he's going to want a piece of Rollins, so he's going to go join Team Cena. That's just, I mean, it's the obvious.
That's the
move
way
they're
I
gonna
see
make.
it. That's the way Jake sees it. And that's the way you see it.
So,
yeah.
I just feel like WWE felt like, especially with Brock not being on the show again and so many people being hurt and injured, there's really no other way to go. Unless, the only other thing I can maybe think of is if it was like Team Ambrose.
Right.
Maybe he still wants a piece of Rollins, but then he's got this thing with Bray. Cena was the only person left with like no one to really feud with right now.
And that's just because we don't have Brock Lesnar.
Exactly, because if Brock was here, it would be Brock and Cena, but Brock's gone.
Because
and they're not gonna leave. They're not gonna leave Cena off the show.
Right.
Cena has to do something.
Except they did last week.
So give him the Survivor Series.
Last week.
Give him the Survivor Series team, and we'll see what happens.
Because unlike WWE, Brock Lesnar is going to be our main event segment. We're going to get to Brock Lesnar at the end of the show. When I watched Raw, I shot a text over to Michael, and I said that was the most random Survivor Series match setup I've ever seen, because it completely came out of nowhere. There was no reason for it. And Stephanie just said it all nonchalantly. How about we do this? We set up at a Survivor Series match. It's like, hold on, where did that even come from? Like, there was what was the reason for it?
It was like an RKO or Sweet Chin Music. Out of nowhere.
Yeah, just there was no reason for it. And then she's trying to get Cena to come over to the Authority, and you know, if you're a part of the Authority, you'll never lose. Cena doesn't lose anyway. Even when Cena loses, he wins. Why? Because he fought Seth Rollins in the main event of this show after he lost to Dean Ambrose to not have Rollins inside Hell in a Cell. Well, the next night, he ends up getting Rollins anyway. So whenever Cena loses, Cena wins.
True.
What was the point then?
Wasn't one.
Exactly. Dean Ambrose and Cesaro attempted to have a match on the show. And it started... Ambrose ended up just cutting a promo on the announce table about Bray Wyatt. And then Bray popped up on the screen and did all his cryptic promo garb and everything. And I didn't like this. What it should have been is either Bray Wyatt coming out to the ring and doing an in-ring promo, which he doesn't do a lot, but when he does, you'll know it. Or he should have just had a match. Maybe he should have been in the squash match. And then Dean Ambrose comes out and starts attacking Bray Wyatt. Because Bray Wyatt cost Ambrose this match at Hell in a Cell.
So get some revenge.
Yes, it would have been a revenge thing. That's how I would have done it. Not them doing dueling promos. Because if you're going to build to this eventual Survivor Series match, or maybe even build to a longer feud, maybe go into the Royal Rumble, something like that. I don't know, but why would you start it with dueling promo? You do it the same way that Ambrose did it with Rollins. What's the first thing Ambrose did after Rollins turned on the Shield? He tried to get after Seth Rollins.
Yeah.
He was hell bent on it.
Yes.
But
and it went over this entire summer and finally ended at Hell in a Cell. Why wouldn't you do the same thing to Bray Wyatt?
I see what you're saying. I agree with you, but just trying to think maybe how WWE was thinking. Maybe they felt like that would have been too predictable, and they wanted to try to do something different, which is why I thought, getting back to the Cesaro-Ambrose match, I thought it was pretty cool and very Ambrose-esque if you guys didn't see the show, he just attacked Cesaro out of nowhere just because he was mad at Bray Wyatt and just beats Cesaro with a microphone for like 5 minutes.
Yeah. I wish it wouldn't have been Cesaro.
I felt like that was pretty classic Ambrose. Like, I can't get my hands on the guy I want to beat up, and you just happen to be standing here, and I don't really like you anyway, so I'm just going to beat the crap out of you with a microphone just cuz. Like, I thought that was pretty cool. So it was just, I felt like it was maybe just a little bit of something different to do.
Yeah.
Like, maybe not just have them get their hands on each other right away. Tease at it a little bit.
I mean, and I can
build a little anticipation for it, and also give Ambrose a chance to just act out and do something crazy, aggressive, and stupid, because that's his character.
Yeah.
That's what he does. He just does aggressive things.
I mean, I hope, because we have 2 weeks before Survivor Series?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, 2 weeks before Survivor Series. It means we've got 2 more Raws left. Hopefully we see some kind of interaction between Ambrose and Wyatt.
Oh, it's definitely happening.
If this match is going to happen at Survivor Series, like the Scott Trade Center in St. Louis has announced through their Twitter that this match is supposed to happen, then hopefully within the next 2 weeks we do see some kind of interaction. And maybe they announced it on SmackDown last night. I don't know. But hopefully we do see some interaction.
Did you watch SmackDown?
No, I have not watched SmackDown. Did you watch SmackDown yet?
The
last
night?
night? Yeah,
No.
last night with the Uso Dust Brothers cage match. Okay.
Yeah. I was at the movies.
True. The main event of the night after Hell in a Cell was Cena versus Rollins, which was a good match. Really good match. It just ended with Kane interrupting the match for the 427th time.
That's his forte now.
Yeah. And then, I guess it just did it. I don't even remember how it ended.
Oh yeah, it was that big just brawl of the entire
that
freaking locker room that made no sense.
Yeah, it was 4 weeks before Survivor Series, and you would have thought it was 6 days before the Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll just fast forward to this past Monday's Raw. No, we're not. Jake,
Cena hit Heath Slater out of nowhere. That's what I had. Why?
It's from the AA, like, just cause.
The best part of that was Heath Slater tweeting John Cena after the show, like, dude, the hell? I wasn't even going for you.
Yeah, it was weird that the final AAs of the show were on Heath Slater and Bo Dallas.
Hey.
Explain that one to us. So we fast forward to this past Monday, where we started with an authority promo, but this time with a twist. Because the patriarch of it all, Vince McMahon, made his return to WWE TV for the first time in a while.
He looks like the classic 90s Vince
He
McMahon.
got his hair cut back. Is the first thing I noticed, too. He got his hair cut back.
His thoughts died again.
He looks like 1998 Vince McMahon, not that weird little comb-over thing that he had. I loved it, and I think Vince just wanted to be back on TV.
His entrance was the greatest thing.
He did. He came out of that curtain just all, I'm here. And then he jumped up and down. He jumped up and down. I was really hoping he wasn't going to tear anything again. But he jumped up and down, and I don't know why Vince wanted to be on TV. I just think Vince just was like, you know what?
It's his company. You can't tell him what to do.
True. And he's like, you know what? It's been a while since I've been on TV. I'm going to be on TV tonight.
I wish you'd fire somebody.
And so Vince comes out with his son-in-law and his daughter, and puts a random stipulation on this randomly put together match at Survivor Series. If Team Authority loses, Triple H and Stephanie will lose their positions within WWE. And if you've never seen WWE before, you're not going to know what happens. But if you have seen WWE before, you know exactly how this is going to turn out. No matter who's a part of what squad, the Authority's going to win.
And Vince McMahon's going to win.
And here's the reason why. Triple H and Stephanie are literally the Authority. They are the people that run the place. Not John Cena, not like he likes to say, face-to-face with the man who runs the place. No. Right now, Triple H and Stephanie are the people who run this place. If they lose their control, who's going to run WWE?
Mick Foley.
I would be all for Vince McMahon coming back. Because, I mean,
True.
he makes a great bad guy. But so does Triple H.
He always has, yeah.
So,
but that's what I don't understand. That's just a lame stipulation. And there's not even a counterpart, like if Team Cena loses.
Yeah.
It's just if the Authority loses, Triple H and Stephanie are no longer in control.
I'm thinking why they did this random stipulation is just because a lot of their top talent is injured right now. Is injured.
Yeah.
I don't know grammar, but but a lot of their top guys are injured right now, so that they gotta somehow make something seem like a big deal, even though it's not.
Basically,
because we don't have Bryan, we don't have Reigns, technically don't have Lesnar, because
even though Brock's not injured.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, he's greedy.
He just
health issues, but
he's greedy. He asks for too much money, and WWE can't pay for him.
But some of the random like monkey wrenches that WWE throws our way, I think it's just because they understand that they don't have a lot of top talent right now. Which I mean, over the past couple months, they have done pretty well with making do with what they got. But I think that sometimes that interferes with some of these random ass storylines.
Yeah.
For example, the Survivor Series coming up.
Yeah. And we're starting to see where everybody's allegiance lies between Team Authority and Team Cena, or at least how Stephanie and Triple H announced it. The first three members of the Authority are Seth Rollins, Kane, and Randy Orton. And while Cena right now is just recruiting Dolph Ziggler, which we're totally okay with.
Oh yeah,
I'm awesome. I'm fine with that. At the Randy Orton comes out or walks up to the Authority. I can't remember which, and he wants his hands on Seth Rollins. If you didn't realize this, Randy Orton wants to kill Seth Rollins, and he even said that I'll calm down when I'm dead, or when he's dead. Excuse me. And so Triple H makes this match between Orton and Rollins. It's going to be, their big blow-off match. They finally blow off some steam, and after this match, you're going to shake each other's hands, and then you're going to go to the Authority, and you are going to be this team for Survivor Series. And Triple H does this whole war speech that was also completely random put together. It's like,
we're going to go to war.
Right.
Scorched earth.
Scorched earth.
No one left behind.
Yeah. If Triple H ever wanted to be in a war movie, he could play it off pretty well, because he has his talking voice and then he has his screaming voice that you definitely know when it happens. Too.
They could remake Braveheart and put Triple H in it.
Freedom!
You will never take my freedom!
Time to play the game.
Yeah.
The whole soundtrack would be done by Motorhead.
And then, the match happens. Rollins scores a shocking victory on Orton, gets him with a backslide, catches him, and they start to shake each other's hands. They're being all respectful, and then Orton drops Rollins with an RKO, and then the fun starts because he beats up Kane, he beats up Noble, he beats up Mercury. And then Triple H gets involved and tries to calm Orton down. And dear Lord, this is the only time I was hoping for an RKO. I was really hoping Orton was going to drop Triple H with an RKO. But no, he punches him. It's a really weird punch, too.
It was like a forearm.
Yeah, it was like a forearm. It was weird. That was also after they randomly bumped into each other. It was like, you got 20 feet of ring to walk around each other. How are you going to bump into each other? You're the only guys left in the ring. And then Orton forearms Triple H. And Randy Orton is getting his ass kicked. And then Stephanie just says, end this. And Triple H doesn't want to do it. Triple H still thinks there's something in Randy Orton, at least in the Authority. And then they dispose of Randy Orton. Curb stomp off the announce table onto the ring steps, and that's the end of the Authority, or that's the end of Randy Orton for the Authority.
Thank God. Add some character to him.
Yeah, true. Which then I suspect that Orton will be a part of Team Cena whenever Orton comes back, because I think you should keep Orton off TV, especially for next week, and then all of the Go Home show. Because here's what I had to say, because I altered my thing after I watched Raw, and I told Michael about it. You get all the Authority all 5 members of Team Authority, and then Cena only has 4 members. For whatever reason, he's having a hard time picking people to be a part of Team Cena to go against the Authority. While the Authority is basically just beating people off with a stick, trying to, like, no, we already have enough people. We don't have room for you. And then, Triple H, it's Triple H and Cena in this promo war. And, Triple H saying, oh, you don't have enough people, because there's not enough people that are stupid enough to go against the Authority. And then, out of nowhere, Orton comes back, comes through the crowd, and he lays out everybody. All 5 members of Team Authority, Noble and Mercury, but he keeps Triple H and Stephanie. He doesn't touch them. And he just stares at Triple H and Stephanie. And they don't do anything to him either. And he gets out of the ring, he walks up the ramp, and he shakes hands with John Cena. And then we find out that 6 days before Survivor Series, we finally have Team Cena, and Randy Orton is a part of Team Cena. That's how I would do it.
I can see it working out like that.
It would also probably help that if Orton gets cheered in his hometown, since Survivor Series will be in St. Louis. That's how I would do it. Let's go back at the beginning of the show. Mark Henry finally turned heel on the Big Show. Or was it? No, I guess it... No, it was last week when that happened. Yeah, because it was during the tag team match. Either way, we'll go back anyway. Mark Henry turned on the Big Show, and it shouldn't have happened on Raw. It should have happened in Hell in a Cell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It should have happened then. Maybe the referee was knocked down. Maybe Big Show was about to end Rusev. Here comes Mark Henry. Drops him with the World's Strongest Slam. Helps Rusev win the match.
He dropped him with 4.
Yeah. And that's what I think how it should have happened. But let's get to your favorite part of the show. Ironically enough, it was after the show.
Oh, shit.
On the Raw Backstage Pass, only on the WWE Network. Sheamus versus Rusev for the United States Championship, and guess what? Rusev wins the U.S. title. And I got a text message from Michael after this happened. It was a very furious text message. So I'm going to give this one on to you, Michael. How did you feel about this network exclusive Rusev beating Sheamus to win the U.S. Championship?
This was the dumbest thing I have ever seen
Michael Jericho.
the WWE try to do. The U.S. title that is supposed to be prestigious. We just looked at the list of all the people that have held this belt. This is a lot of people. This is supposed to mean something.
First champion was Harley Race.
And it changes hands after Raw. After Raw? Like, okay, I get that you want to do it on the network. You want to, bring more attention to the network. And that's fine. But the title should not change hands on a match that was not technically televised. It was a glorified dark match. It was a glorified dark match.
It was a network ploy.
Now, if they had done it and maybe either Sheamus wins or, like, someone gets disqualified, something like that happens, whatever, fine. But I just don't feel like the title should change hands in a match that's not... Especially, like, they hardly even let a title change hands on Raw. Most title changes are going to happen at pay-per-views, big match feels, big things, big shows.
Yeah.
This was a freaking dark match after Raw.
Yep.
After Raw. I mean, they do a dark match after Raw every week, just about. The only difference between those matches and this match was that this one just happened to be put on the network. They could be doing that anyway, putting dark matches on the network.
Yeah.
That only, like... Why would you take this opportunity to make that title change hands? I know you want to put the U.S. title on Rusev and bring him more heat, and he's got this whole I Hate America gimmick going, and you got to give him the U.S. title to be ironic. Okay, cool, I get that. That's a cute little storyline you're doing. Great, let's do it. But we should have done this either at Hell in a Cell, or we should have waited until Survivor Series.
Yeah.
And maybe they should have used, what they should have done, or at least could have done, was, excuse me, use this match have something happen, somebody get involved, something happen where Rusev doesn't win the championship, but use this as a way to fuel a feud between, because there wasn't even a feud between Rusev and Sheamus.
Yep.
There wasn't even anything that would warrant them having a title match. Why not use this and then show us like next Monday on Raw, what you guys missed if you don't have the network is this and this happened, and now Rusev and Sheamus don't like each other, so we're gonna build a feud between them all the way to Survivor Series, Survivor Series, and then have Rusev win the match then. Why would you have the title change hands after Raw?
Yeah.
And then what makes me mad, now I know we live in a great nation. We are a cultural melting pot. We're like a beautiful mosaic of different cultures that come together and make this country great. And so I don't want to sound like some kind of pro-America, boo everybody else, kick everybody out of here. But does it not seem a bit strange that we just had a U.S. title change hands between Sheamus and Rusev? Like, neither of these two dudes are even from here. Like, neither one of them is American. I'm not saying the United States Championship has to be on the waist of an American at all times, but I just feel like that's a little bit like, come on.
Of the recent years, like we'll go back about 3 years. Rusev, Bulgarian, U.S. champion. Sheamus, Irish. Kofi Kingston,
West Africa.
supposed to be from West Africa. He speaks perfect English. I don't think he's actually African.
Just because he speaks good English don't mean he can't be
Have you heard him
African.
talk without an accent?
I'm just saying.
Right,
I know some people that come from other countries.
Cesaro, Swiss. Santino Marella, Italian. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 5 out of the last 6 U.S. champions are not from the United States.
It's like Rusev hates America. Why does he want the U.S. title anyway? Like,
True.
give him don't give him the Intercontinental Championship because I like Dolph. But I don't know. Make a Russian championship.
Oh God, that would be stupid. I'm sorry, but that'd be stupid.
Bring back the European title.
Thank you.
Give him that.
Alright, sorry about that weird cutoff. We had to fix something. So anyway, we'll get back to this. Michael just had his huge diatribe about how the U.S. title changing hands after Raw on the network. And I completely agree. This was nothing but a network ploy. And here's the reason why. Network numbers aren't as high as they were hoping for, WWE. Recent number came out and it was like 771,000 people have purchased the network. And they're doing this thing right now for the month of November. The WWE Network is free, which means you get Survivor Series for absolutely nothing. New subscribers to the network means you get the entire month of November for free. Well, that's great. That's exactly what we needed. In the last year, the first year of the network, they had the free trial to start off the network, which is what you should do. Have a free trial when the network first launches. Well, after the first 6-month commitment, they had another free trial. And now, they've cut off that 6-month commitment.
Which is what they should have done in the first place, honestly.
And now they've made the entire month of November free. I hate to say this, but the WWE Network is almost failing. And I don't like that, because it shouldn't. There's 2 things that you can do that needs to be done that can fix the network. A, you make your current product a whole lot better. And B, you put stuff on the WWE Network. You put original content, you put archived content, you flood that network. When you go to network.wwe.com, that thing should be loaded with content.
I mean, there's stuff on there. I mean, you can go back and search
there is
different matches and different pay-per-views and stuff like that, but I agree that it just doesn't seem like there's a lot on it. And then a lot of the shows that they did have kind of went away after a while.
Yeah.
Like Legends House is done. I didn't even really watch Legends House, but it's done. They haven't done a lot of WWE countdowns lately, and that was one of my favorite shows on the whole network. I mean, there's just a lot of stuff that they were doing that, like, it just kind of went away. And then a lot of the stuff that they have on there, it almost feels like all they're doing is taking different footage from all the documentaries they've already done and just splicing it all together.
And making the Monday Night War.
Rivalries and Monday Night War and stuff like that. Like, you've seen all that stuff a million times. Like, all this stuff used to be... This stuff was on Netflix like 6 months ago. I've already seen it all. Like,
exactly.
Give me something new.
And as much as I enjoyed it, I'm glad that Chris Jericho got his own episode of the Monday Night War. But if I wanted to know about Chris Jericho's trials and tribulations at WCW, I would put in his WWE documentary. Because everything he said on that episode of the Monday Night War was said on his DVD.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
So...
And just like the Monday Night War, or the rivalries between Austin and McMahon, that is on every single...
It's on every Austin DVD there is.
Attitude Era moments and everything. Like
the top 25 rivalries in wrestling history, that DVD. That's number one. Spoiler alert, if you don't have that DVD, top rivalry in wrestling history, according to WWE, is Austin versus McMahon. But Sheamus versus Rusev was a network ploy. That's all it was. Now, like you said, Michael, if they were going to do something, just an angle, like, oh, Rusev got himself disqualified, or Sheamus got disqualified, or there was a count out, or just something going that would have advanced this.
A draw of some sort.
Yeah. And, you know, the next week on Raw, Michael Cole, because he's the guy that's got to promote everything, because he's the only guy that can do it. Jerry Lawler stumbles over his words, and JBO just doesn't care.
Find a way to end it in a no contest.
Right.
Maybe.
Yeah. You know, Michael Cole. What if you haven't ordered the WWE Network, which is free for new subscribers in the month of November? This is what you missed last week after Raw, and then you do the Sheamus and Rusev thing, and then that propels a match for Survivor Series.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with that. Sheamus versus Rusev should have been a Survivor Series match, and then you do the title change at the Survivor Series. That's how it should have done.
Well,
that's how I would have done it.
I read an article and they said that this match was actually supposed to take place at Survivor Series, but a last-minute decision, whatever reason behind it, they, for some god-awful reason, they moved it to the post-show. Totally disagree with it, and I just want to know who made the decision and what was their reasoning behind it. Because I'm pissed.
It was a bad decision.
But
it was a bad decision on WWE's part.
Due to our technical difficulties and taking a little break in between the segments here, we did stumble upon an interesting idea based off what Michael said about bringing the European title back. What if they also, Rusev not wanting to be the U.S. champion, he makes his own Russian title, just kind of like how Zack Ryder made the internet title.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of feel bad saying that was a stupid idea, but now that I've thought about it, it could actually work.
Hey, maybe. I could see them doing something like that just to add more fuel to the fire of this Rusev Hates America angle. Turning it into the Russian title, having his own custom belt or whatever, and turning it into the Russian title.
Or put a Russian sticker over the front.
And then whoever challenges him for that title is like, I'm going to restore that title back to America. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to win that belt and bring it back to being the U.S. title. So I think it would be good. But also, it's like, okay, then who is he going to feud against that's going to be believable for him to be beaten? Because it's going to have to be somebody that they will believably put the U.S. title on. Mm-hmm. And that takes out people like John Cena. And Cena is not going to compete for the U.S. title.
No, not anymore.
That's not going to happen. That's 2003.
His time to do that was in 2004.
Where
he held all three of his U.S. titles.
Yeah, so I don't really know who else is left that they could do that with that he hasn't already run across. Aside from an Antonio Cesaro.
Yeah, which we know
is a former U.S. champion.
Yeah, and what's going on with Cesaro is a travesty.
Dude, name me in Mizdow. That's who needs to do it.
Yeah, that's how it should be done.
Have him come out dressed as Vladimir Putin.
I don't know.
technical difficulties galore. Sorry, we had to cut away for a brief second. Actually, Michael had a telephone call, and so he had to take that real quick. So, like I said, like 2 weeks ago, no one is a saddle ass on this program. Everyone's going to do it, or no one's going to do it. So, Michael had to go away for a quick second, so we cut off.
It was my older brother. Had to take that.
Yeah.
Didn't want him to come down here and beat me up.
A little bit serious. But we just got done talking about the whole Rusev thing, and it should have been a Survivor Series match. It should have been a Survivor Series feud. But it was a network ploy to get new subscribers. Whatever. WWE Network is failing, and I hate it. Because it shouldn't be. There's too many things that WWE owns. There's too much footage WWE owns to not make this thing fail.
Correct.
And one of the things is them talking about the price all the time. I don't care that it costs $9.95 or $9.99. Excuse me. I can't believe I forgot about that because they talk about it all the time.
Shame on you.
I know, right? I don't care that it's $9.99. This network could cost $50. I could have to pay $50 a month for this network. I don't care as long as there's something on it that'll make me actually watch it. You know? 2 weeks ago, actually the Tuesday after Hell in a Cell, the pay-per-view, WWE 2K15 came out for Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3. It's the lesser version of the video game that next-gen owners are going to have in 2 weeks. Or I guess in a week. Hold on.
I'm deeming this game WWE 2K15 Diet Coke.
Right. Actually, in a week from this Tuesday for Xbox One and PlayStation 4.
Interesting side note, I was the first person in our hometown to own this game. Anyways. There was nobody at Walmart going to buy it at midnight. I was the only person. I look freaking pathetic.
Because it's WWE 2K15 Lite.
Diet Coke.
Compared to what is going to be on the Gen 8 systems in a week. Let's just talk about it real quick, because I know I don't feel like dropping $400 to get a new system just to get this game. And I don't think you two are either. I don't want to speak for you, but I'm going to guess.
You can speak on that.
All right.
The only way
I got the Michael stamp of approval. I can speak for him. All right.
The only way that I would get a...
Just on that, though.
Right, just on that.
I'm a grown
The only way I'm going to get a PS4 anytime soon is if I win that thing from the Taco Bell $5 lunchbox.
I tried to do that while we were gone. Let me talk about this real quick. Because I first noticed this.
He got so pumped.
I first noticed this when I was at work, because now at the new place I work at, I get to basically get paid to watch TV. Hope no one listens to that. But anyway, and you know, the commercial comes on for the Taco Bell Quesarito Big Box where you could win a PS4.
A winner every 15 minutes.
Yeah. Again, I'm going to talk about that in a second. So I was like, all right, cool. Because the last time I didn't do this, or the last time they did this, I already had my 360, so I didn't need a PS3. I don't need it because I've already got the other system. Well, this is the new system, and I don't want to go back to I don't want to get an Xbox One because I don't want to be too reliant on the internet. I don't have it right now. I don't want to be relying on it. If I can't play my game because I don't have it hooked up to the internet, then I don't need the damn game. And I've heard this from enough people. Xbox One is pretty much internet reliable. If you don't have the internet, you just got a system that looks like a VCR. But the PS4 is not like that. So I'm going to try to win this PS4 via Taco Bell. So I finally did it. Finally got my little code. Did it 3 times. 3 days I spent trying to do this. Because you can only do it once a day. At least that's how I read the terms of agreement. Didn't work. I didn't win. So, that's how that all worked out. But I tried to do it. It didn't work. So, anyway, that's how I would want to get a PS4 too, if I could just win it from Taco Bell.
Or the McDonald's Monopoly pieces.
Yeah, that too.
Anyways.
But that's how I would do it. I don't feel like dropping $400 right now, or $500, however much it costs. When I got my 360, it was 2010, and then they were like $300, or $250, or whatever it was. It was 3 years after the 360 first came out. That's when I got mine. That's how much of a cheapskate I am. And really, the only reason why I got a 360 was because WWE 12 wasn't going to be on PS2. So I had to get a 360. That's the only reason why. Anyway, what'd you think about 2K15, or at least our version of 2K15?
Visually, it looks better. Like, I watched the video because, like, if you go and play 2K14 and then take that out, put 2K15 in, it's going to be hard to judge how different visually it is. But I found a video on YouTube. We may even be able to include it in the link below.
There you go.
But it compares the game last year to this year, and
On 360 and PS3?
yes,
Okay.
and it is actually very different visually. Like, everything looks so much more real. Like, last year I thought the game looked pretty real, but then looking at it side by side to this year's game, it almost looks cartoonish compared to real life.
Right. And I think some people even said that compared to this year's game on the two different consoles.
And the showcase, I feel that when I first heard the idea about it, I was like, it could work. I actually like playing through the story mode because, I mean, they gave you like different objectives that you had to do, and most of the stuff, like the cutscenes they did in it, match up pretty well with real life.
Yeah.
The NXT mode was pretty cool. The one thing I didn't like was the showcase mode with, or the proving ground with John Cena, because it felt like I was beating the streak again. Because there were some times that I was just at a loss. I lost so many times to John Cena I shouldn't have. But Michael had no problem beating it, and I don't know what magical wizardry he possesses.
Use the power of the Olay, because apparently Michael beat John Cena with Sami Zayn.
No problem, but I
So
lost
he-
6 times.
He
Also-
pulled out the power of the Olay.
I'm the best in the world.
But on a technical standpoint, the game pissed me off. Like, they changed nothing about your creator wrestler or the movesets. They just added, like, new people to the roster. They just added their moves.
Yeah.
The creative finisher, or not the creative finisher, the creative entrance. On 2K14, when you'd make your own entrances, you had like 7 pages worth of actions. Now, all you have to pick from is like one list of like maybe 16 superstars, and then the quiet I'm on the phone where your guy walks out with a telephone. And delete all the like different lightings and stuff, and it's like you said, a light version of what 2K15 was really supposed to be.
Right.
And then you don't get the creative story. I mean, I never like really created my own stories on the old game, but I would download them from Xbox Live because
Right.
it's better than playing 30 years of WrestleMania or reliving the Attitude Era, which we've seen 9,000 times because of all the freaking DVDs and documentaries that come out.
Sure.
But I would love to have a Xbox One or a PS4, maybe somewhere down the road. I'm
Yeah.
fortunate enough to get one, but I feel like the next-gen console owners have a great privilege of having a better game than what we got.
Oh yeah, definitely. What'd you think about it, Michael?
I feel like it almost feels like people that have the old generation of consoles got like punished. Like, you didn't shell out $400 for the new console, so you're not getting a good game.
Pardon me, 2K, for being broke.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, what do you want me to do? We got bills to pay.
Right.
I can't just go get a new
I'm
console
a broke ass college kid.
because
Come
you
on.
wanna like, you know, that's not fair.
Yeah.
Like, I understand us maybe not having some of the features, but it feels like we got a very, very stripped down
Oh yeah.
version of it. And it's just, that's like, really? What did we do that was so wrong?
We got the SmackDown version of WWE 2K15.
The main event.
Gen 8 systems have the Raw.
We,
We've got the SmackDown.
no,
We got
Gen
house
8
show.
versions have WrestleMania, and we have Superstars.
A
There we
house
go.
show in Wichita Falls.
You know what? If they didn't want to put the My Career on or on 360 and PS3, I'm okay with that.
I'm not.
But well, yeah. That's the mode that Jake's been wanting for the last 12 years.
They did it with NBA. Why can't you do it with wrestling?
Because a WWE career is a whole lot different from an NBA career.
But like I said,
you know how your NBA career is going to go out. Oh, you're going to start off in college, and then you're going to be a superstar in college, and then you're finally going to get drafted to the NBA, and you might have to be on the D League, or you might have to go through the summer league. One of those two things, or maybe you have to do both. I don't know how NBA is set up. And then you finally get drafted by a team, and then you spend 20 years on that team, and you become a phenomenal superstar. And then ESPN does 327 documentaries about you because we don't know enough about your life.
Pretty sure he's talking about LeBron James.
Exactly, I'm talking about LeBron James.
Except for the college part, because LeBron didn't go to college. But
I thought he did.
No,
He did?
came straight out of high school.
Oh. Well,
He was the last
there
guy
you
to
go.
do it.
Oh.
They outlawed it after him.
Really?
Yeah.
Anyway, was it that bad with Michael Jordan? That
as far as documentaries
yeah,
and
like
stuff?
just because I'm telling you, if you were to tell me that there's another basketball player whose name isn't LeBron James, I'd be shocked because that's all I ever hear about. That's why I don't watch basketball because I don't know anybody else. You got LeBron James and then there's everyone else.
I don't
It's
really.
like WWE. There's John Cena and everybody else.
I
You
don't
don't need
really
to know about
remember.
everybody else.
I don't really remember if it was like this for Michael because I was a kid, so I really wasn't watching ESPN. Like I was watching like the games, and I remember watching Michael, and he was obviously talked about as the greatest man on the court because he was.
Right.
But like I don't know that there was so many like in depth like looks into his life, and people were constantly evaluating everything. Like if LeBron James goes to the bathroom, we're gonna know about it. Like I don't know if it was
ESPN,
necessarily like that for Michael.
TMZ.
You also got to realize we're taking a little bit of a sports break on on Shoot Nation right now, but I kind of like it.
Yeah.
You also got to realize that back
We're
then,
gonna try to expand.
we're broadening our horizons.
It's gonna be the Shoot Nation Sports podcast. And
our 38 listeners are gonna get the ride of their lives on this freaking podcast.
Yeah. We're gonna
Um,
talk about everything.
back then there wasn't a lot. There wasn't as much like there wasn't social media.
Yeah.
There wasn't stuff like that. So life probably was a little bit more private.
Right.
Back
You know,
then.
I mean, I say this because I was at work last night, and on one of the TVs that we had on, it was on ESPN, and it was another documentary about LeBron, and I was like, hasn't this already happened? Wasn't there a movie like 3 years ago made about this? Haven't we talked enough about him? I'm pretty sure there's another player. There's at least 300 other players in the NBA that we could be talking about right now. It's like, come on. It's like if WWE just started pumping out documentary after documentary about John Cena.
They haven't.
Well, the man did get 2. He got his My Life DVD, and then we had to follow him around for a year on the John Cena experience. But I actually didn't like the
Then
DVD.
Once in a Lifetime was kind of split between him and the rivalries.
And then we got greatest rivalries. But, touche. I mean, well, look, I was just waiting for either 2K14 or 2K15 for WWE to do the same thing that NBA did with their 2K14 game. The LeBron Path to Greatness mode. I just knew since 2K got their hands on this, they were going to make a Cena Path to Greatness or something
John
like that.
Cena.
Where we'd make John Cena the greatest wrestler ever.
I could see them doing that.
But
Start off with his debut against Angle.
right, and then go through this ridiculous
Fight
fake-
Randy Orton 600 times.
this ridiculous fictional story on how John Cena became the greatest wrestler ever. I will give 2K this though, because they at least made a game for the Gen 7 people. They at least made a version of 2K15 for Xbox 360 and PS3, because EA Sports didn't do that with their UFC game. Their UFC game is strictly on Xbox One and PS4. EA Sports didn't even attempt to make a UFC game for. Now I'm wondering what was on my face.
My girlfriend's hair is all over the apartment, and it was hanging from your chin. I'm sorry.
Cool. All right. I was just hoping it was a hair. That's why I didn't say anything. But anyway, EA Sports didn't even attempt to make a UFC game for 360 and PS4. At least 2K did for WWE 2K15.
Kudos to them.
Yeah. And I also figured out, finally, how THQ did run out of money. Because on 2K15, we actually had a soundtrack. There was a real soundtrack on this video game.
Yeah.
We haven't had a real soundtrack on a WWE game in years. That's how THQ ran out of money. That's what happened.
Anyways, back to your impressions. That was a
Yeah.
huge rabbit trail.
Yeah.
Man, I forgot it was on me.
See, we could have just kept rolling. Michael wouldn't even know.
Yeah, like a talking stick.
We need a gong. That's what we need when we talk too long.
Time limit. Let's set like a timer every time one of us gets a turn.
We should have someone in the corner over here hit a gong every time we go off course for too long.
Or like electrical shocks.
And we're back. Alright, but yeah, my impressions of the game basically were just, we got a very watered down version of it, and I wish they would have given us just a little bit more. Maybe an abbreviated my player mode. Like, don't have to give me everything. Give me something, though.
Right.
A little bit more creativity on the creative player and on the creative entrance. I mean, give me a little bit more diversity. Don't punish me just because I can't afford a $500 console right now. I'm sorry. There's nothing I can do about that. I work a minimum wage job. Give me something for the working man.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Give me a 2K15 blue collar edition.
2K15 Dusty Rhodes edition.
Yeah. Give me something.
Just the son of a plumber.
Put Jeff Foxworthy on the cover of 2K15 and let me have it. Oh. I'm winning the WWE title with Larry the Cable Guy, and there's nobody that can stop me. Yeah! I'm beating the streak with Ron White. And Bill Engvall's going to be my manager.
That's who needs to be a tribute to the troops, damn it. That's who needs to be a tribute to the troops, not Florida Georgia Line.
A comeback of the Blue Collar Comedy Tour.
Yes.
The Blue Collar Comedy Tour returns to WWE Tribute to the Troops this December.
Oh.
Not Florida Georgia Line.
Yeah, we're doing that Honor the Troops thing.
Baby was fine.
Kiss my ass, Florida Georgia Line.
And fuck you, 2K, for putting that stupid song on the video game. Why? At least you didn't put the Jason Derulo version. Thank you for that, but why did you put that song on the soundtrack? Maybe I shouldn't say that to 2K. Maybe I should say fuck you to John Cena because you put the soundtrack together.
Oh my god.
And I'm out.
We here at Shoot Nation would like to apologize to anybody who may have felt that offensive, but sometimes we get emotional and we have to express ourselves.
I'm sorry.
I'm laughing
I just don't like Florida Georgia Line. Anyway.
And they disrespected, like, the troops.
We're gonna do the Honor the Troops thing in December. I wanted to throw my shoe through your television set when we were watching Night of Champions, but I was like, that's not my TV.
I wish somebody would have
I can't do that.
Knocked them the hell out.
God, I was hoping Ms.
JBL.
I was hoping Ms. Dow would have punched one of them. That would have been so great.
Oh, JBL clothesline from hell because he's so patriotic.
Yeah, and the one guy that I don't know what their names are, but there's one guy, one of the guy's voice, I just can't stand whenever he speaks. I don't like hearing the music anyway, but it's the one guy. It's the guy who had the first verse in Cruise.
No.
That guy, whatever his name is. I don't care. Anyway,
we still have like 3 more topics.
We do.
We might have to cut something.
It has been announced that WWE might finally be dropping the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. And we've talked about this before.
No, wasn't it Elimination?
What did I say? Hell in a Cell?
Yeah.
I meant Elimination Chamber. We just got through with Hell in a Cell, so I still have it on my mind. Yes, WWE may be dropping the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view in February. We've talked about this before. I love that decision because I don't like pay-per-view concepts. Because Hell in a Cell, Elimination Chamber, TLC, they're not annual matches that happen at the exact same time every year. Not like the Royal Rumble, not like Money in the Bank.
Mm-hmm.
They happen because of circumstances that are going on in the current storylines. That's what has made so many Hell in a Cell matches head scratch worthy because they're just in circumstance for the pay-per-view's coming up, so we got to put someone in Hell in a Cell. Elimination Chamber's coming up, so we got to take our champion and 5 random challengers and put them all in the chamber.
We had a Hell in a Cell match. DX versus Legacy.
Yeah.
And I was like, this isn't even good. Like, I mean, it was a cool match to watch, but it wasn't like this rivalry needed to be in Hell in a Cell.
Yeah.
Like, it was just
There you go.
It was Ted DiBiase and Cody Rhodes.
Oh shit! It's October. Let's just bring a cage in.
Yeah. It's circumstance to what's currently going on, and Michael is just chokeslammed his teddy bear, Herbert. He's been doing wrestling moves with his teddy bear for like the last 5 minutes, and it's been hilarious. I had to put you out there on that. Sorry.
Okay, now I gotta explain. I have a teddy bear. Some of my friends bought it for me for my birthday a couple weeks ago as kind of a joke gift or whatever, and I named him Herbert, and I like to wrestle him sometimes. It's not weird, and if it is weird, I don't care. I'm 24. You can't touch me. I'm a grown man. If you say something about me to it in the streets, I'll knock you out.
Boom. There you go. But yeah, WWE is thinking about dropping Elimination Chamber in February as a pay-per-view concept, and I couldn't be more behind it.
The name, though, that they're replacing it with is kind of lame.
Fastlane. That's
WWE Fastlane.
That sounds like a fucking game they would make for like Super Nintendo where you were wrestlers driving in a racetrack like Mario Kart.
That could have just been the name of a racing game.
Right.
That's
like
it.
NASCAR
like,
event.
It's
John Cena in a Hot Wheel going around a track. That's what I picture.
it's so bad. Why can't we just use old names?
Backlash, No Mercy, Judgment Day, Armageddon,
Unforgiven.
Yes.
Even
Way
Over
Out.
the Limit. Bring back Over the Limit. I like that name.
I mean, I like some of the new pay-per-view names. Payback.
Payback and Battleground I love.
Yeah,
Like, those are really
Battleground.
cool names. I can go with that.
because you could have
Breaking Point.
whatever
Breaking Point
match.
was pretty cool.
You can have whatever match. Like
Yeah.
you could like the Rollins Ambrose feud. If that happened back in Payback was June. Yeah, if that would have happened like months ago, be like, I'm challenging you to a Hell in a Cell match at Payback.
And it would have been huge.
Yeah, it would have made more of an impact instead of, oh, I know this Cell match is coming up, so
Yeah.
this is like perfect for
The only Hell in a Cell match we have had that hasn't been at the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view was Triple H and The Undertaker at WrestleMania 28.
Yep. And recent.
Yeah, and recent.
Yeah.
Since the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view started. But just bring back the old names. No Way Out. Backlash. Judgment Day.
The Great American Bash.
Yeah, even bring back the Great American Bash. Unforgiven. No Mercy. Armageddon.
Bad Blood.
Bad Blood.
In Your House.
Vengeance.
Vengeance. There we go.
Ooh, yeah.
Vengeance. Just why do we got to come up with new names? Especially who came up with the name of Fastlane for a wrestling pay-per-view?
What does that even mean?
I don't.
And also with the old pay-per-view concepts, like Backlash and all of them, it made it more theatrical. Like, the pay-per-views we have now, like TLC, Hell in a Cell, and all that shit, it's the same stage with just, oh, we'll hang some ladders from the ceiling, or we'll just put a cage in front of the Titantron.
Yeah.
But no, like, I always talk about this one, like, the old Backlash when it had, like, the claws.
with the big hooks.
And they were, like, swinging in and out. Or, like, Judgment Day was, like, tombstones and stuff. Like, it added to the theatrics of it.
Armageddon was like what the Earth would look like after Armageddon happened.
Like that, was it the Hell in a Cell with, like, Rikishi and Undertaker where they had, like, all the destroyed cars and burned barrels and stuff like that? Like, it fit the element of it.
Yeah.
Unlike, oh, we'll just put that chain link fence in front of the entrance and, oh, bam, we got Hell in a Cell.
Well, that also has to do with the budget cuts WWE's having gone after, because now SummerSlam, this has been brought to my attention, SummerSlam's set is the old Raw set.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah, go back and watch like the last couple of SummerSlams. The set is the old Raw set before Raw 1000.
So like Raw, like 2008-ish,
Like
2009-ish.
the first HD sets.
Yeah, not the one
right before Raw 1000.
Okay.
The
LED.
Yeah, the old
bars.
The very first HD setup. Yeah,
that's pathetic.
Listen. I do have one theory about this Fastlane name. And I've been kind of working on this mentally for a little bit.
He's been thinking about this.
I've been mulling this over. I've been pondering this one. Now, if you look at some of the pay-per-view names, some of sometimes have to do with like the feel of the storylines. Like you got a pay-per-view like Payback, and you had guys that don't like each other, someone that had a vendetta trying to get payback, like, you know, Ambrose trying to get at Rollins, you know, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking maybe they called it Fastlane because they're going to use this show to propel some of the guys that they're trying to, you know, give them their final push into their successful, like, where they want them to be. Like, you guys like Cesaro and the Shield guys and Ziggler, like, because you can already see they're building these guys, especially Ziggler. It's becoming increasingly obvious they want to do something with him. They're giving him a lot more spotlight than he's ever gotten. So I think maybe they called it Fastlane as kind of a hint that like we're gonna push some of these guys into a different direction here.
This just hit me with it. Since Royal Rumble is like the start of the road to WrestleMania, that is the Fastlane will be the midpoint between the Royal Rumble and WrestleMania. So we're on a fast track into WrestleMania.
That just hit me too, like, because they refer to it as the road to WrestleMania. So that's where the name Fastlane, on the road to WrestleMania. You gotta
Clever,
go
WWE.
on the road to WrestleMania. You've gotta go through the Fastlane. That'd probably be what it is in February, and I'll have to put myself through a cinder block. Just bring back the old names. Don't use new names. Just bring back the old names. Replace Extreme Rules, Hell in a Cell, TLC, and Elimination Chamber, and pick one of the 4 of the old names. Don't come up with new names because it doesn't work half the time.
Like, my top would be Backlash, Vengeance, No Mercy, and probably Armageddon.
Yeah. Definitely.
Because Armageddon was always held in December, so replace TLC.
Yeah, it was the end of the year, so the end is here for Armageddon. Yeah. This is a topic that you have been wanting to get on, Jake, for so long now, and we're finally going to do it.
Thank you.
You have this thing about these specialty matches, and not just like your steel cage or your Hell in a Cell.
Contract on a pole match.
Yeah, thank you. See, it's already gimmick infringement. Anyway, weird silence, huh? Anyway, Jake's been wanting to get on specialty matches, and not just like your steel cage or your Hell in a Cell or your street fight or anything like that, but all these weird off the cuff specialty matches, like the ambulance match, the stretcher match. There have been some other ones here, Jake. I'll just let you take it.
Strap match.
A strap match.
Ooh, I forgot about strap matches.
Strap matches? Yeah. God, I'm trying to think of what. The Punjabi prison match.
I thought about that earlier when I was trying to, when we were talking about the unlocking specialty matches on the game.
Yeah.
I was trying to think of the name of that one, and I couldn't think of it.
Yeah. But street fights, parking lot brawls, God, I'm trying to think of all the other ones. The haircut match.
I mean, they still have street fights.
But they're not
But
old
they're not
street
as
fights.
cool. Yeah.
Like, oh, well, hit you with the stairs in a chair.
And apparently at a lot of house shows, there's been Seth Rollins versus John Cena in a street fight.
Yeah, I've heard that.
It's been the main event of their last, 20 house shows.
But
that's
even
what really sucks about the house show market, too. They just recycle the same matches every day.
But even,
it really sucks.
On just Raw and SmackDown, there's hardly... Thankfully, this past week, we got 2 steel cage matches. Which I think they're just overemphasizing the steel cage on this one, because they only...
What, we got 2 steel cage matches?
Yeah, Ziggler and Kane in a cage, and the Usos and the Rose Brothers in a
And
cage.
this was all on SmackDown?
Yes.
Ah, okay.
But,
I might have to watch SmackDown.
Exactly. But, now, even if they have a specialty match, we know it's going to be at a pay-per-view. But, back in the day, we'd have some on Raw and SmackDown. I was watching the Jeff Hardy DVD last night, and there was a stretcher match on SmackDown.
Yep.
Granted, the stretcher match is kind of lame-ish.
Stretcher match is a goofy specialty match, but...
It adds some, flavor. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
You gotta incapacitate your opponent. You gotta beat them to hell.
And then put them on a stretcher and
push them
over a white line.
But, yeah, I don't know. We just get regular singles matches all the time. And, I feel like if the Orton Cena feud that is so stagnant and watered down, and we've all seen it.
Because
If they would put some extra stipulations on it, like give these dudes a strap match or an ambulance match or something. Like, let these dudes actually beat the hell out of each other. Instead of, oh, AA spot, RKO spot, we'll just keep going back and forth.
And not such a contrived stipulation like an I Quit match, because that's been
Last man standing.
That's been like Cena's specialty, to put him in an I Quit match, just because never back down, never quit.
Yeah.
That's been Cena's mantra forever. So, we're going to put Cena in an I Quit match, and we're going to try to test his will, and then all of a sudden he's going to win.
Yeah. Even like
Whatever.
one arm behind the back match. We've seen it a couple times.
Didn't
it
Nick
kind of
do
has
that to Brie a couple weeks ago?
Yeah, well, that's neither here nor there. But I mean, like Austin and McMahon. You said you could beat me with one arm tied behind your back.
Well, let's find out.
Yeah, exactly.
And then I'll have Dude Love come out and beat you up.
Yeah. But I feel like that it would increase viewership and make rivalries more interesting.
Just not contract on a pole.
Yeah, not
Because there's
contract on
nothing
a pole.
more ridiculous than a contract on a pole match.
At least hang the bitch from the ceiling and climb a ladder.
That match should have been a ladder match. Should have been a ladder match. We haven't had a real ladder match in forever.
And aside from like all the ones that we've discussed, even like TLCs and stuff, I still consider them specialty matches, but just throw them in at random pay-per-views instead of, because it will increase the interest in the rivalry.
It shouldn't. No, those matches shouldn't be an annual thing. The Royal Rumble, it's always been an annual thing. That's just how it is. Money in the Bank, it's been
In recent history.
Yeah, it's been annual.
Even before there was the Money in the Bank pay-per-view, it was annual. Just at WrestleMania.
It was annual.
Same with the Elimination Chamber. Like they've had it. Like it started out at SummerSlam in 2002.
And then it went to
Survivor Series.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And then it went to SummerSlam in 04.
And then it went to New Year's Revolution or something, and they did that for a while. And now there's an Elimination Chamber.
And then even
yes,
like
there have been like those matches every year, but it hasn't been at the exact same time.
Yeah. Even like the ECW Elimination Chamber, where they put weapons within their pods.
2006 started with an Elimination Chamber and ended with an Elimination Chamber.
Right.
So, like, they can be yearly, just not at the exact same time.
Right.
And that's what's killing the Elimination Chamber match, the Hell in a Cell match, and the TLC match.
I'm okay with the Elimination Chamber having. I think that if there's any that I'm okay with being annual, it's the Royal Rumble, Money in the Bank, and Elimination Chamber having their own shows. I'm okay with that, but outside of it, I feel like the Hell in a Cell, TLC, all that stuff needs to just be integrated within feuds at different times.
Because those three events all have a stipulation attached to them.
Exactly.
You get a future title shot, whether it's scheduled the next pay-per-view or you cash it in.
Right.
There's a stipulation attached to it. You don't get shit for winning a Hell in a Cell match.
Yeah, a Hell in a Cell match is just a match.
It's just there.
Yeah, it's just there.
Yeah.
All right. Closing it out for today, as we finally come back to do episode 4, and hopefully our schedules won't be jacked up to where we have to skip another week to give you episode 5. Ever since it happened in August at SummerSlam, we knew it was gonna be a problem.
No, August.
Yeah.
March, April.
Well, true. Okay, fair enough. Ever since WrestleMania 30, we knew it was gonna be a problem. Brock Lesnar.
This.
Michael's favorite wrestler. Don't let him tell you otherwise.
I hate Brock Lesnar.
Of course, WrestleMania 30, Brock Lesnar's the one who broke the streak.
I hate Brock Lesnar.
I have said I wasn't upset that the streak ended. I was upset at who ended the streak.
I hate Brock Lesnar.
Okay, we get it.
It could have been anybody else. Should have been anybody else. Shouldn't have been Brock. Why?
Because I hate Brock Lesnar.
Because Michael hates Brock Lesnar. And he's a part-timer. He's probably been on TV how many times this year?
5?
Probably maybe 10. maybe 10 times this year we've seen Brock Lesnar on TV.
Less than 10 times. I'm calling it. I will have to look into it.
And
Between 6 and 10.
And
Between 6 and 9.
And it got even worse at SummerSlam when Brock won the world title. The last time we saw Brock Lesnar on TV or on the WWE Network was Night of Champions, where he had his rematch with John Cena. We have not seen Brock Lesnar since.
And his next contracted date, tentatively, is December 8th.
Yes. So we're not even going to get Brock Lesnar at Survivor Series. That's why we're getting the completely thrown together Team Cena versus Team Authority match.
I hate Brock Lesnar.
And this isn't Brock Lesnar's fault that he's not on TV. It's WWE's fault. Well, maybe it is Brock Lesnar's fault because he's asking for way too much damn money.
It's both their faults.
But it's WWE's fault for not even doing anything with Brock Lesnar. The World Heavyweight Championship does not even matter right now because we've got no reason for it to matter because they're not doing anything for with Brock Lesnar. They're not sending a camera crew to his home
via satellite interviews.
Anything. Not like I've heard this from somebody. These two suggestions. You take a film crew out to his home in North Dakota or Minnesota or wherever he lives, and you film him either like training or just being an asshole. Because that's what Brock Lesnar is. And just running everybody down.
Like, are you talking like going through like a Walmart or like a training facility?
Yeah. You're like, well, here. And then you could do him with Paul Heyman, and they're out on the town. And he's at, because Brock Lesnar's this big, huge dude, so he eats meat. He's a steak guy, right? He's got this huge, 48-ounce steak. And he's just being an ass to the people at the restaurant. And he's being overbearing. You know the people. Some of these people that go to restaurants like this. And he's just living it up. He's the World Heavyweight Champion, and he's living it up. That's what WWE can do. Just so we can see the World Heavyweight Champion on TV.
Yeah.
We have the only thing we've got of Brock Lesnar on WWE TV is his manager, and that's the best thing about Brock Lesnar.
Or it's archive footage on the WWE Network
for just
$9.99. Well, this month is free.
Except for the month of November, where it's free. Yeah. So Michael, you hate Brock Lesnar, but
who told you that?
But what would you do to fix the Brock Lesnar situation? And you can't say take the title off Brock.
Oh, damn it, that's what I was going to say. I was going to say strip him from the title.
I hate Brock Lesnar. Okay, if I can't strip the title from Brock, then I would say that there shouldn't be a time in the WWE where the WWE World Heavyweight Championship becomes an afterthought. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. And it's like, okay, Cena won this Hell in a Cell match to get a future shot at the title, and he's not even talking about it. No one's talking about it. And we don't even know when it's going to be. It's not scheduled, it's not hinted at.
Because as Jake said, Brock Lesnar's next contracted date is the December 8th edition of Raw. That's after Survivor Series. So and I don't see Brock being at TLC.
And
I don't see Cena and Brock having a TLC match for the title, and there is no way in the world there is no way in the world they should have the main event of TLC not be a TLC match. Yeah. So
yeah,
I don't think it's gonna happen then.
No.
And John Cena's future title shot, that could be 2 months from now. It could be 4 years from now.
Yeah. With the way it's working, because Brock Lesnar's asking for way too much money for each appearance.
So I'm saying, forget how much money you think you are deserved or owed or whatever, Brock. If you're going to be the champion of this company, you're going to be on the show. You're coming here.
In some way, shape, or form.
Either that, or we will storyline your behind out of here, and you're going to give me that belt back.
Right.
There's just... He needs to be, whether it's, like you said, sending a film crew, having him appear via satellite. We've had Roman Reigns via satellite twice. We know where he's at.
He's 30 seconds.
He don't need to be up. Those have been the most pointless via satellites. Like, he
Two
shows
of the
up.
worst interviews I've ever seen.
He shows up, answers one question, kind of stutters through an answer, and then leaves. But at least he's giving us something.
Yeah.
If Roman Reigns can give us something where he's not even obligated to, he's injured right now, he's taking time off, he's rehabbing, whatever. Brock Lesnar is the WWE World Heavyweight Champion. He can give me something.
Like Stone Cold Steve Austin, for example. Like when he had that neck injury, he was on TV every week still, just raising hell with Vince McMahon.
Yeah.
And you didn't even, like, it didn't even matter.
Even if Brock just came out at random times and just beat somebody up, like, just cuz.
Yeah.
I would probably still be annoyed because he's Brock Lesnar and I hate Brock Lesnar, but at least he's on the show. The championship shouldn't be an afterthought. And I have people, okay, I don't know who all listens to this thing, but I've got friends of mine and people that know we do this podcast, and they'll talk to me about different things. And I've got buddies that say stuff like, well, I'm okay with it because the WWE title should be special. It's a special thing to see Brock Lesnar wrestle, and it should be a special thing to see the title defended, and it shouldn't happen all the time. It should only happen every month or every couple of months, stuff like that. Let me tell y'all something. Let me tell you how stupid you are. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. The WWE title needs to be on the show. If you're going to have a pay-per-view, if you're going to have people spend their hard-earned money, if you're going to have people buy these pay-per-views, if you're going to have people travel all the way to these cities to watch these shows, then they deserve to see a World Heavyweight title match. The most important belt on the show, the most important belt in the company should be defended at those shows. And that's how it should be. And the fact that Brock Lesnar isn't offering that is completely ridiculous. And the fact that the WWE is okay with it is completely ridiculous, and something needs to change.
Like the reigning NBA champions still play a basketball game 3-4 times.
Yeah. Like,
Right.
You can't just be like, I'm the champion, I'm bigger than everybody, I don't have to be here.
I'm going to sit on my ass at home.
That's not cool. That's not okay.
And I agree. The WWE Championship, the World Heavyweight Championship, is the most important belt in that company.
It's the most important belt in the industry.
In the world of professional wrestling. 2K15, the CM Punk, John Cena showcase, they talk about it so many times. In the 50-year history of the WWE, it is the cornerstone of this company. Vince McMahon's blood, sweat, and tears is all surrounding this championship. Then yes, it should be defended. It should be coveted. But you should not be bigger than the rest of the company.
Right.
You don't have to. It doesn't have to be defended at every house show. It doesn't have to be defended on every TV show.
At least make an appearance.
But
You should be on Raw.
The champion should be on Raw, and the title should be defended.
Every pay-per-view.
If you're going to do a monthly
Every
pay-per-view, 1995, Vince McMahon decided to do monthly pay-per-views. That means we need to have a monthly title match.
What other sport that does pay-per-views doesn't have a title match?
UFC does it?
More often than not, they do, though. Or at least they suffice by doing like a 5-round main event.
Exactly.
There's some kind of big something that's going on. It's usually for a belt. Boxing, when they have pay-per-views, usually for some type of belt.
Yeah.
Like, there's got to be
For
something on the line here.
27 belts that boxing has.
If I spent this much money to see this, I want to see history being made.
Right.
Exactly.
I want to see, I want my own little slice of history where the biggest title in all of the sport is defended. And Brock Lesnar isn't giving us that, and it's not because it's Brock Lesnar's fault, it's WWE's fault.
To
That's
me,
the holy grail. The WWE World Heavyweight Championship is the holy grail to WWE, and it has not been defended in the last month, and we haven't seen the champion on the program.
Let me say something. I agree with you, but here's where I disagree with you. Because I agree with you mostly. There's a little sliver where I don't. It's Brock Lesnar's fault, to me. And this isn't just because I hate Brock Lesnar, which I do, but that's not the focal point of what I'm saying. Here's why it's Brock Lesnar's why it's Brock Lesnar's fault. To me, it is a testament to how much he does not care about this business. He doesn't care. He's just here for money. He's just here for notoriety. He's just here to be the man. He doesn't care about this business. Do you think for 1 second, and I know we harp on the Attitude Era all the time, and I know sometimes we make it bigger than it really was, because I mean it was an awesome time, but they aren't gods, and they were 15 years ago. You know what I'm saying? Like it's time to move on. But do you think for 1 second that as the WWF champion, Stone Cold or The Rock or Shawn Michaels or Bret Hart or Triple H would have been caught dead not being on Raw? Would have been caught dead not being in the main event of a pay-per-view? There is no way in the world they would have ever done that, because 1, the belt meant something to them, 2, the fans meant something to them, and 3, this company meant something to them. And they were going to go out and they were going to perform because that's what they were. They were wrestlers. They cared about this business. That's the only thing. They ate, slept, and breathed this business. Brock Lesnar does not. He eats, sleeps, and breathes himself. That's all he cares about. He doesn't care about the business. These guys care about... John Cena cares about the business. Randy Orton cares about the business. When they have the belt, they are on the show every week. When they don't have the belt, they are on the show every week if they can help it.
Just like I said about the whole Austin thing. He still put his time, effort, heart, soul, everything. He was injured.
And that's just because Austin knew that he was going to be groomed to win the title sometime. And he knew, oh man, my neck's broken. If I got to take time off to get the surgery, I'm going to lose my spot.
I got to
And that is the spot that Steve Austin fought tooth and nail for almost a year. Got crapped on in WCW in the early 90s. Got crapped on a little bit when he first got into WWE when he got strapped with the ringmaster gimmick. But he fought through it. He got that injury. I'm not going out.
Hell no.
And that's that heart that Brock Lesnar doesn't have. And that is why I say this is his fault. You can blame it on contracts and money, but all of that is just centered around Brock Lesnar wants what he wants. He doesn't care what anybody else thinks.
Exactly. Brock Lesnar in 2002 and 2003, that was a Brock Lesnar who was a wrestler.
Mm-hmm.
Brock Lesnar in 2012, 13, and 14 is not a wrestler. He is a money man.
Mm-hmm. He's not a wrestler.
He is a once-in-a-blue-moon fighter. He fight wrestles. That's how I describe him. He fight wrestles.
A figment of wrestling imagination.
The guys that we mentioned before that wouldn't have been caught dead not being on the show, that's because they were wrestlers. They were born wrestlers. They will die wrestlers. They are wrestlers. Brock Lesnar is not a wrestler. Someone who's not a wrestler should not have the title.
He's not a wrestler anymore. And
he's not. At least, okay. People give him crap for being a part-timer. I don't really care about that. The Rock won the belt as a part-timer, and I loved it. I love The Rock. But when and a lot of people give The Rock crap saying he's not a wrestler anymore. I get that he's not all about the wrestling business all the time. He's got movies, he's got things coming on. But when he does come back, he's on the show and he's focused.
Right. He's
focused. He wants to be there. He wears that belt with pride. He's a fighting man. Like he gives his all in every match. Every time say what you want about The Rock, but when he steps in the ring, he gives all he's got. Mm-hmm. All his charisma.
And I can agree to that.
Every ounce he's got in him, he puts it in that ring. Brock Lesnar could care less. When The Rock's there, he's putting on a show, and he's making sure that the crowd does not leave without a memory, without a piece of history. Brock doesn't care about that.
And to go back to what you were talking about, The Rock, I was not happy in 2013 when The Rock won the WWE title, because the very next night after the Royal Rumble, WWE started promoting G.I. Joe Retaliation. Mm-hmm. And it all came into perspective for me. I was like, oh, that's why Brock won. So then you goes, oh, this movie's coming out, and he's gonna do all this. But yes, I can agree with you that when The Rock shows up, he gives you a show.
I mean, he showed up and had a 5-minute segment with Rusev that wasn't even a match or didn't hint in it. He stole the entire. He was the centerpiece of Raw. That was incredible. Just him talking, but he came out there and you knew he's not in a match, and he's not going to be here next week, but for those 5 minutes, he's about to give you the ride of a freaking lifetime. Because he's a performer. He's a wrestler. That's him.
Yeah, and that's what Brock Lesnar could do. He could just show up. He could just show up, beat the tar out of someone. Paul Heyman could come out and say this is just a warning for anybody who's going to try to take this, talking about the World Heavyweight title, from the conqueror, Brock Lesnar. Think twice before you try to step into his yard, not to take anything from The Undertaker, but into his yard, try to step into his house and take that centerpiece from him. But Brock wants too much money.
Mm.
There's a reason why his next contracted date is December 8th. Because that's all WWE can pay for. He has too many, his price is too much per appearance. And WWE can't even pay for that.
To add, or another twist on this, how you were saying that Paul Heyman could come out like, this is what happens when you mess with Brock Lesnar and whatnot. What WWE could do, it wouldn't make sense with the storyline right now, but Money in the Bank, you can cash in whenever, wherever you want. What if they had a storyline, an element to where the Money in the Bank person, which I don't see Seth Rollins doing it, but whoever possessed the Money in the Bank went looking for Brock Lesnar. Like, WWE cameras followed him to his home in Minnesota.
And, like, stepped up on
caught him at
Lesnar's house?
Yeah, caught him at the gym or something, or at his house, out at a restaurant or something, and won the title there. We've never seen anything like it besides hardcore matches.
Right.
Like whenever
They
it could be
the
defended
24/7 rule.
But they could do that with him instead of him actually having to be.
I don't know about them like winning the championship in a gym. I don't know
You
about.
wouldn't see it coming.
I don't know about necessarily. Okay, if we're gonna get pissed about the U.S. title changing hands in the ring, but after Raw, we cannot condone the World Heavyweight Championship changing place in the men's bathroom at a Chili's. Like, that's not cool. Like, I'm not gonna have that happen. But that does spark an idea in my mind. It would be cool if, like, maybe. Because I was thinking about this, like, okay, this is kind of weird, but I was thinking, like, if I was a wrestler and I was a storyline with Brock Lesnar, like, how would I do it? And I was thinking, like, because everybody always winds up kind of scared of him, but I was thinking, like, you take the fight to Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
You beat him at his own game. I'm going to be just as intense as you are. You want some? Come get some. So I'm thinking, like, maybe he's at the gym or maybe he's out somewhere and you just go find him and you don't, like, try to fight him, but you just cut a promo. You just get in his face. Do something. Like, your time's up. You're out here hiding. I'm gonna come find you. And I'm gonna let you know when you step in this ring with me, when you come back to Raw, when you finally crawl out of whatever hole you're hiding in, I'm coming to get you. You're not gonna have that belt much longer. You know, mess with his head a little bit.
And like that, and that's what they could do with
Run
Cena.
up on Paul Heyman.
Right.
You know, like,
Actually, I was going to get at that. Have Cena and Rollins feud and the stipulation, the Money in the Bank briefcase. It could change hands. We've never seen it before. Put that on the line.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean
TLC.
Yeah, yeah. I
That
mean,
could be your stipulation.
you know, like if we're getting groomed to see Brock Cena 3 sometime, I don't know when, sometime, then and if you got nothing else going on with Cena, just have him do like a Chris Jericho rivalry with Goldberg back in WCW, where where Jericho made like these idle threats toward Goldberg.
Mm-hmm.
Have Cena do the same thing to Lesnar, and just provoke Lesnar. And even if they wanted to do this, if they wanted to even go that far, have Cena go Brock Lesnar hunting. Have Cena just go looking for Lesnar and just.
And maybe even have him get in some fights in
just,
some random places.
Yeah.
Kind of like something like you would almost picture like a Stone Cold doing. Stone Cold just pulls up in his black pickup truck like, what's up now? Like, at a Walmart. Like, what's good?
Yeah. Or like what Austin did with Pillman back in '97. Austin went to Brian Pillman's house and destroyed it almost. What Triple H did to Orton back in 2008, Triple H went up to Randy Orton's house and threw him through his window.
Didn't Orton go to Cena's house?
No, Edge went to Cena's house and slapped, or went to Cena's dad's house and slapped John Cena Sr. But like Cena could do the same thing, just roll up into Brock Lesnar's house in the middle of nowhere and just kick through his door and take it straight to Brock Lesnar and say, hey, whenever you're coming back, I'll be waiting for you, and I'm going to take that WWE World Heavyweight title.
Mm-hmm.
And just do that, because if you don't want to pay Brock to come to you,
go to him.
Just see if he will let you go to him. Because he doesn't have to be in he doesn't have to travel anywhere. Because that's what Brock's all about. He doesn't like to travel. He's antisocial. He's not a busybody. He just wants to stay at home. It's like that's why the UFC fit him so well. Because once in a blue moon, he got to fight. That's all Brock wants to do. I don't know why he's back in WWE then. Because WWE is a 24/7, 365 job.
Cha-ching! That's all he's after.
Exactly. So, Brock doesn't have to leave home. Brock can stay in North Dakota. We just can bring a film crew down there. And maybe we'll bring John Cena. And we'll do this angle where Cena walks up into your home and punks you out. Whenever you come back, Brock, you better bring your fighting shoes. I'm going to make up some John Cena promo. You better bring your fighting shoes and bring that world title. Because you're going to be facing me, and I'm going to make sure you're not going to walk out the same.
Mm-hmm.
It's just something that they could do with Brock Lesnar that they're not doing. The World Heavyweight title's an afterthought. No one's talking about the world title. They're not even talking about the world title. The only time they do is when Cena's out there. Oh, he won the Hell in a Cell match that gave him a future shot at the World Heavyweight Championship, but we don't know when it's going to happen because we can't pay Brock Lesnar.
It just becomes a footnote.
Yeah.
The WWE title should not be
Brock Lesnar's reign is going to be worse than The Rock's last year.
It already is.
Yeah, already.
At least The Rock, you enjoy seeing him when he comes out.
Yeah.
Like,
and,
yeah, it was like
you
knew it was going to be short-lived. You knew he wasn't going to be around forever. You knew there was a movie promotion behind it.
Yeah.
However, it did not change the fact that when he was out there, he held you in the palm of his hand.
And at least it was every other week.
And it was entertaining. Nothing about Brock Lesnar is entertaining. Aside from the occasional Paul Heyman hits a home run with a promo.
Right.
But there's nothing about Brock Lesnar as a person, as a wrestler, if you want to call him that. There's nothing about his matches that are entertaining. It's not cool to just watch him throw somebody around for 20 minutes. Like,
yeah. And at least with Rock, he was there at least every other week.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least twice a month.
And he may not have had a match on Raw, but he came out and he found other ways to entertain. Rock concerts and funny promos. And like the videos he did around Boston messing with Cena. Like, that stuff was great.
Yeah. We are coming up on 7 weeks since we've seen Brock Lesnar last on WWE TV. At Night of Champions. And we've seen Paul Heyman maybe 3 times.
Getting RKO'd.
And, yeah, one of the times was getting RKO'd. And
that was pretty awesome.
Like, what does that say about your champion?
Yeah, it means absolutely nothing. There's the weight of WWE right now should be on Dolph Ziggler. Because, by proxy, holding the Intercontinental title means he's the number 2 guy in the company. That title still means something. You just got to dig around to find it.
I mean, they call it the workhorse title and stuff like that, but it's still the second most prestigious belt in the company, right?
Yeah. So, they need to do something. They need to do something. Brock needs to either get his head out of his ass and just come back for something. Just something. Let them do something. WWE needs to get their head out of their ass and just do something with Brock Lesnar to remind us he's still here. The Conqueror is still looking over all of us. But they're not doing it. Please.
Give us something.
Please! Just give us something. Make something happen. I'm not asking for Brock Lesnar to have a match on Raw. I'm not asking for it. Just to show up. Maybe get in a fight. Make us remember he's still here. That's all I'm asking. That's all we're asking. This has been a very adrenaline and
Heartfelt.
adrenaline-filled, heartfelt, anger-filled.
I hate Brock Lesnar.
A very adrenaline or a hate-filled episode of the Shoot Nation Wrestling Podcast. Found out how much Michael hates Brock Lesnar and I'll get it out in a minute. What Michael thought about the whole Rusev thing after Raw.
That was the dumbest thing
Monday.
ever.
And you found out how much I hate Florida Georgia Line. God, I'm gonna hate Tribute to the Troops in December.
The honor of the troops thing.
And how we feel about everything that's happened. I think this is a good time to close it out.
Hey, just remember, the network's free this month.
Yeah.
Free.
Then it goes to $9.99.
$9.99.
But it's not a 6-month commitment either. So you could just you know what? Here's what you can do. because this is how stupid the WWE is for thinking of this, for not putting that commitment on. March, it's WrestleMania month, right? March 1st, you sign on to the network. You pay your $9.99. You see everything you want to see in that month, and then you get WrestleMania for just $10. By the time March 31st rolls around, you end it. Because that's all you want to see. You just want to see WrestleMania. That is what they have caused for someone to do. Is just get the biggest show of the year for $10, and then they can opt out. That's why I don't agree with the 6 month with ending the 6 month commitment.
Shooting themselves in the foot.
They'll figure it out in March.
The WWE network is failing, and it shouldn't, because they got too much content. They got too much content to fail.
We just hit another topic.
Oh yeah,
And we'll continue that next week.
And we'll always talk about the network. There will always be something on the network for us to talk about.
I hate Brock Lesnar.
But until then, this has been episode 4 of the Shoot Nation Wrestling Podcast. You can interact with us on all forms of social media, Facebook, Twitter, and even our YouTube page, where all of these episodes are put on.
I promise I'll make an Instagram page.
And Jake's going to make an Instagram page. He's been taking pictures for the last 2 hours since we've been doing this. And
follow us on the Twitter.
Yeah, interact with us, like I said, on all forms of social media, Facebook, Twitter, eventually Instagram, I guess. We have a YouTube page as well, which is where you get all these episodes. I think I might even try to just make an audio file so you can download and listen on the way, because I was trying to do that last week, but it wasn't working for me. So I might make a audio file as well, so you can listen to it on the go.
Like, comment, subscribe, share,
retweet,
comment,
Harry Potter hour?
right?
follow.
Yeah, the Shoot Nation Wrestling Podcast, and this has been episode 4. We're going to try to be back next week. Hopefully nothing happens, and we'll be bi-weekly again. Ebola's going to happen.
I ain't catching that. Dang thing. Y'all can speak for yourselves on that.
For Jake and Michael, I'm Charlie, and this has been the Shoot Nation Wrestling Podcast, and we'll see you next week.
Catch you later.
Bang.